Heyo.
Heyo, welcome to Benchwarmers, a Woso podcast. This is episode number 10. We've made the double digits. They all doubted us.
Who doubted us?
I don't know who doubted us. I just feel like people doubted us.
Our haters on TikTok doubted us.
Yeah, they doubted us. No, they definitely knew we'd make it to 10. I think I doubted us, but we've got the 10 there. We've got the 10 there. Episode 10, as we go around the grounds. Club ball was back. A lot to talk about. Not a lot of time to get it done. So we are going to smash through it as we start, as we always do, in England. The Women's Super League, the first two games of the round. We had Chelsea and LCL and City and West Ham, which I feel like we can talk about in conjunction with each other I thought this would be two shellackings, as I always say.
And what did I say? I say?
And you said the opposite,
Yep.
and you were correct. But you also said that about Arsenal, but we'll get to Arsenal later. But let's start with my team. As Yui Hasegawa took on her old team, West Ham, and we won very unconvincingly 1-0, which is very uncharacteristic of Manchester City this season, uncharacteristic of Andre Jeglert's system as well, as we had 18 shots, 1 on target, West Ham only producing 2 or 3 big chances for the game. I feel like the big moment of the game was Viv intercepting the ball from deep in midfield, taking on the West Ham back line, dragging defenders, playing the ball to Fujino and getting the winner. Fujino actually scoring goals for us this year in big games, winning us games, which is amazing. And Viv pouncing on that counter and feeding her really easily. Good to see Viv in the 10, as the number shows, delivering for us, not just in midfield creating chances or scooping up half-baked chances, but facilitating great chances for teammates, because that's what Jeglert's system is about, as he said since the start. Multiple combinations, different avenues of scoring, and I can't think of any other way we would have gone about it other than like a perfect encapsulation of what we've trying to be about this year, which is different players providing the win each week.
I think, and we were talking about this when we kind of dissected the game ourselves, what is the role of Viv in the 9 versus in the 10? And you said, look, this is where we want her. We kind of want her picking up those scraps, making the ball, progressing it forward. But I still do think that you can get that from Viv in the 9 because she naturally drops. We see it even with other types of 9ers in the league. You know, most notably what comes to mind is Alessia Russo. But I can understand where kind of you want her in that pocket in between the first line of midfield and the last line of defense. And I think that's where she operates best because she both has a view of what's in front of her and what's behind her. And I think Viv this season, as well as Bunny, have actually been able to grow together into the season, into that system of one goes up, one goes down, but also recognizing each other's runs, making each other's space. So I think as a whole, your front line and your attack is not the problem. I think maybe it's more to do with the fact that you're very slow from getting the ball in each part, in each quadrant of the field, if you like.
Yeah, I think that part of the game is getting better. I think there will always be questions about the 1 up front or the 2 up front. I know a lot of Arsenal fans will say that Viv still has it. You just got to play her in the right position, and Jeglert's is just wasting her. And I think I can definitely understand that. I just personally think that Bunny Shaw doesn't like playing in a 2. If anyone has ever watched Bunny Shaw for Jamaica, I think you will see what happens when Bunny's in a 2. She really gets isolated and she hates playing off 1 foot. She needs to be able to have both. And I think she's also not a flat track bully. She's a big game player. She doesn't do well when she's getting doubled up by 2 centre halves from a mid or bottom side, and they lock up and tighten around her, which is why Viv had all that space. So you have to question whether the tactics were intentional in order to let Viv open up and get the space, because anyone who knows Viv, she should never have that amount of space to be able to run and carry the ball. The only other players I really want to mention for Manchester City this week was Blinkhild Brown having a career best season for us. and Gracie Pryor, amazing game. Jade Rose did all right, but Pryor was definitely taking on the game more. That is the game that kind of shows her confidence. She's taking on forwards now and making those line-breaking passes. Yamashita definitely proving her number one spot now. I think it's kind of solidified at this point, which is amazing that we actually have a 1 and a 2 and a 3, which is what every club in the world has, and I think it's a very good precedent to set. But I didn't like that our under 21s coach Izzy Christensen said that we aren't ready to win the league because we're only 1 point behind. We might be top of the table next week pending big games incoming, but I just feel like we have relative depth in comparison to how much competition we actually are going through. So if we don't win or go far in the cups, we can focus on the league and we can take the league on and take one game at a time and put our best 11 out when it matters. But at the moment, the teams we're coming up against, our title challengers, are all teams who have other competitions to worry about and are all very successful in the respective opposition competition. And I think not having the Champions League to worry about, obviously doing well in the Champions League will foster and assist your season in the league, but having no Champions League, no big cup competition to worry about, playing your best 11 against some world-class sides is a good feeling to have.
For me, I would just ask, what is with the use of the subs by Eglerts? Because I
He
think,
only used one, didn't he?
yeah, and I think
terrible.
that one of the things that encourages me about a team like Chelsea in their strive to get another league title is that rotation. We see it from Arsenal as well. I just find, yes, a lot of the subs or a lot of the things that a lot of the players that you're having to bring in are to do with injury. So, for example,
Yes.
Bene and Red Rose as well. I just find that if you're only bringing on Laura Coombs and you have that bench, I would just be a bit weary come later down the season. You're obviously prioritizing the league. You'd also want to prioritize rotation in the squad as well.
I don't disagree at all. I think I would have loved to see a little cameo from Kanak, who's coming back from injury. Yeglert said that she would come on the pitch and she'd be a part of the game. Clinton as well. Clinton wasn't picked, I believe, and Kanak was sitting on the bench and didn't come on. I feel like it was just saving fitness. I feel like obviously getting the 90s around for the other players doesn't save fitness for them, but not risking it in the last 5 minutes of a game for players who need that next bout of training in order to get to the Manchester derby, whether we're even going to risk playing them in the derby, but having them for a bigger cameo in the derby, getting them match fit. I actually don't mind it at all, especially against West Ham, pretty much the bottom of the barrel
They're
of
the
the
worst team.
competition we're going to come up against this season. I don't mind us not having little cameos from players who don't really need to play and aren't benefiting us through the season.
At this point, I think if we move on from City and we just quickly talk about West Ham, I think
Yeah.
that they are arguably the worst team I've seen in the modern iteration of the WSL from an established team. So not a team that's come up, but from a team that has already been in the league. Their players basically look like they're jeopardizing their own place in the Prem because Shakira Martinez doesn't miss those chances.
No. Uweki as well.
Yeah, Oweki doesn't miss them. Acai doesn't miss them. These are
Gori's better than
yeah.
this. We know Gori is better than this. We've seen their midfield play much better than this. And I don't know, it's a question of whether they've lost faith in the management, which is totally justifiable, whether they want to facilitate new leadership structures for their captaincy, who they want up front, knowing the best 11. That's pretty much the most important thing as a manager. And having Shakira Martinez on the bench for the last 3-4 weeks was a bit shocking to see for me. But I don't know what the plan is for West Ham, because if they don't get out of this hole that they're in, obviously we know they're capable of going on a win streak and they can beat bottom par sides and sides that are even in the pack. I would back them at their peak to go toe-to-toe with Everton, Villa, 100%, but not in this rate, not in this current form. The current chance creation, they don't actually facilitate their wingers in a way that's beneficial, and Asai just looks super isolated as well.
I just think that there's a lot of basically like age disparity there. You're looking at players that are either 32, 33, and then you have, mid to late 20s in positions where you probably want that security. So I'm looking at the mix of a Gori and a Siren, one 33, the other one 24. And it's like, I don't really know what the experience versus maybe something like pace or fitness comes there, but it looks like one is willing to keep going but is taken off early versus the other one who is gassed and playing 90 minutes.
Yeah, and obviously coming back from international break, Gary playing most of the minutes as well, I don't think is conducive to them setting her up for another 90 straight away after flying a few Ks to play in those respective games. You were speaking about age disparity in midfield as we move to London City Lionesses, which has age disparity all over the ground, to be honest, as they copped a 2-0 loss to Chelsea, and specifically Chelsea's Australian stars combining to take Kang FC into recession, as they were very quick to pounce. And starting with Guro Wrighton, I've never seen Guro have this much energy in a while. I think she actually played really, really well.
Well, she started for one, so her
Yeah.
tank is pretty much like completely full. I don't
Yeah,
know
but that's
what
what
her
I
men's.
expect her. That's what I expect her to be like when she comes on
No,
at
no,
60.
I
But
don't. But
but
I don't.
when you're coming on at 60 and everyone else is gassed, you should be at this level. But oh my
But
God, it was so quick.
she's never been a sub player, in my opinion. She's not a player that comes on and injects energy. If anything, she comes on and stabilizes. That's why we've seen her a bit deeper this year.
Draw
I
a
think
foul or two.
Yeah, I just feel like this game was a recharge game. I just feel like it was get the points. There was not a lot of energy exerted. It was basically score the early and then the sealer at the end. But in the middle, there wasn't much that I can say like Chelsea showed their strength or LCL showed something to be some sort of contender against this Chelsea team, who for the majority of the game were only up 1-0.
I feel like they didn't really get out of second gear. Cuthbert had that great chance 1 minute in, and there was a goal line clearance from Sangare. But Sandy Baltimore was definitely the shining star of the first half with that first chance on the side, whipped it across, and Ellie Carpenter getting her first goal for Chelsea,
The most
which
Ellie
is
Carpenter goal, by the way. She
yeah,
doesn't
just
even it hits her foot. If she doesn't hit it, it hits her foot, basically.
it's what she does. It's she sticks around the back
Yeah.
post. No one's guarding her. Great ball from Sandy as well across the
Yeah.
box. Funny when you don't put Alyssa Thompson on that side and you whip the ball across with someone who sees the vision. That's exactly what we want to see. And then, look, a lot of chances that Chelsea had gone amiss, but the reality was that the game wasn't in jeopardy, and then it definitely wasn't in jeopardy when Pattinson bobbled that ball and it fell to Samuelos Kouros. And she lines that ball up from the edge of the box, that corner spot, and it goes over Linari, over the goalie, and seals the deal. Great finish from the super sub Sam. Having a 2 Australian score for Chelsea, 2 players who haven't really scored many this year, doing the business in games is exactly what you want to see if you're Sonia Bompasta, knowing that your depth can pull you through, and different goal scorers, different avenues to goal, different facilitators to goal as well. That's pretty much all you can ask for if you're Sonia Bompasta.
I don't think it's harsh to say that I don't think that there is a single player in the starting 11 for London City that gets into the Chelsea squad as a whole.
Oh, no question. But I could say that about
put,
Villa, to be honest.
but there are players who would get in, say like you
Oh,
take
into the you're saying on the bench.
in the
You're
whole
saying on the
squad,
bench. Yeah,
including the
okay.
bench. I don't think that there is a single LCL player with Sonia Bonpastor would be like that, except for one. Jana
Jana.
Fernandez.
Yeah,
I
I was
see
gonna
you,
say.
Jana. After the game, I see you going up to Sonia and basically handing over the CV, the cover letter from Kang over to Sonia. Look, I think if the young players are using this as a stepping stone, then in 5 years, when we get absolute ballers who you will completely forget were playing for LCL, I won't care. I just hope that the good players in this team, even the good ones, but I'm thinking the good ones, the Fernandez. I'm even thinking Giora, who still has a lot left in her.
Imran is also young, got a
I
lot
just
of
hope.
not
I
not
just
an
hope that.
amazing player, but she'll get better playing in the WSL. Imran has a huge ceiling, especially with our lack of left backs, our left wing
Exactly.
backs as well. Definitely a lot of teams playing 3 at the back. There's no question that Imran could get a big move, but that is the question. We don't actually know where London City sit in the realm of development squad or youth squad or established like pack contenders. I have no idea what this club represents because there is no vision or mission statement other than
Well, there's
Michelle
been
saying what they're going to be and what they should be. And that doesn't really strike me with any form of confidence about what they are when you're not winning games.
I think if they can pull together a run of form, they're probably going to be clinging on to the fact that for like at the end of the season, they'll be clinging on to the fact that they were able to stay up. But I think if you had asked them this time 2, 3 months ago, if they were in this predicament, they wouldn't have believed you because simply they would have said, of course, putting all those money had to have done something. And it hasn't. And it's shown that you need more than just like a shit ton of money basically to get you somewhere.
Yeah, you need a culture, you need a buy-in ultimately, ironically. And I mean, the only thing I can say that has any sort of silver lining to LCL is that they've come up against Chelsea, Arsenal, and City this year. So they'll have a little bit of a run now where they don't come up against the cream of the crop of the WSL. So this is their best time to show that they're more than just relegation fodder. And I think that's what has happened to teams like West Ham when they play us and LCL when they play Chelsea. And as we move on to Leicester, who, I mean, are playing better than I expected them to play, but also got a definite
No, a
reality
complete
check.
dominant. Yeah,
They
is
got
it?
Blacksteniused. They got absolutely slapped as
Yeah.
as Blackstenius's kit sits behind me, as Leggy's background shows. The Blackstenius method, as she starts, this is where the conversational debate begins. Blackstenius starting, Blackstenius bracing. Does she deserve to start in that weird ass 3-5-2/4-4-2 formation that Renee has implemented into her repertoire now?
What I will say is that I am happy that Arsenal can basically pick the games where they know that they are comfortable enough to start experimenting with the lineup and the formation. I'm happy that my team is in that position. You'd hope that they'd be in that position, seeing as we're European champions. But I think in the league, especially this season, we have done the typical go up early and then just basically game manage for the rest of the game. But I sensed early on that this wasn't going to be one of those games. I sensed that we wanted goals. And I think putting Russo and Blackstenius, which we have done in the past, we've done it under Jonas, we've done it now under Renee, where we use these younger sides to basically experiment on how we can enter the final third and how we can finish. We did it via crosses. We did it via basically switch balls. We did it via build-up play. I enjoy all of those things. Just score, basically. At this point, it's just like whoever scores, scores. I'm happy for Stina. She is a player to me that I can't not root for. She's probably the most endearing player on the side because you watch her and you just wish her so much, like you wish for her to do more than she's doing
She has all
because
the
she's
she has all
capable of
the
it.
yeah, she has all the qualities of a player that should be facilitated for ultimately a complete striker with an interesting first touch. But again, don't really need that first touch when the ball's played ahead of you. We'll get to that third goal eventually. But the question you really have is that you're playing two up front and you don't see Alessia Russo drifting wide or drifting to the left and right, which she did a lot under Jonas, which is good that there is impetus from Renee to be like, you know what, we want you to have freedom, but also stick to your strengths and stay in the center. And playing that two in midfield is always dangerous when you come up against three, but when your two is Mariona and Kim, I think you're relatively safe. And that's exciting, but you have to recognize class when it happens. And I think that first half was probably the best I've seen you play this season.
In the league, at least, it
Yeah,
reminded me a lot of basically how we would attempt to play in the Champions League. I think this is a club-wide thing. I think we're using the league and playing more conservative in the league, both for the men and the women. But in the Champions League, we like to flourish. We like to be a bit more experimental. But I think this game, and you'd expect it, we played to our strengths. I probably would have liked to have seen Beth take a break. I think basically it's mostly to do with game management at this point. I think you're asking a player who, for the most part of last season, was starting, but at the latter stages coming on. And I think when she comes on, she has more of an impact. I would have personally liked to have seen Chloe Kelly start if she was fit. I also probably would have liked to have seen a bit more rotation in the back line. I would probably liked Catley to rest a bit, only because she's a player of such, like, we need her, right? And I probably would have, if she was fit, which I know she wasn't, I would have probably rather a Reed and Hines, sorry, a Reed and Kadena back line. But I was happy with it. I mean, even, it's a game that's easy when Jenna Nicewonger comes on for her
Yeah, that
first
was, I
minutes.
mean, she's alive and
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
That I will say. I know she didn't really do much in the game, but to see her come on and get a relative reception is quite crazy because, I mean, a player who hasn't really seen much minutes, a player that's been asked a lot of and by Arsenal fans because of the lack of rotations in defence, which is probably Renee's biggest criticism from Arsenal fans across the board is her lack of rotations in defence. But
I'd say to that and development. I think, even if we just talk a little bit about like some of the rumors about like someone like a Hobinger coming. Hobinger? Is it Hobinger?
what
No,
the
Holmberg.
Holmberg,
Yeah.
Smiller, yeah, the
So like
19-year
someone
old
like
Swede.
yeah.
Yeah.
So someone like that coming to Arsenal, and a lot of speculation and the idea that we don't, like, some Arsenal fans don't particularly want her because of the rotation that we have in the squad. I think you have to recognize that there are just class levels in this team. And like Kim Little and Mariana are always going to start in midfield. We are
No
certain of that.
question.
Alessia Russo is always going to start if she can. It is those places like the fullback and the wings where we have just so much rotation. And I don't think the class disparity is that high where you can make moves there.
I actually think that the rotations need to be more in that defensive unit. But I'm talking about the flanks as well, because even though Emily Fox and McCabe's arguably top three in their positions on their day, I think it's evidently clear, not just to Arsenal fans but to rival fans, that she is the one to go after. This is the time. If I'm playing Arsenal, I'm going after her. She's having a really rough season. I think Taylor Hines can be the answer to that as a hybrid defender, can play all across the back four. And she played an absolutely stellar game. I know you said that you didn't like the rotations. Having Hines and Kadena in that game, who haven't really had big chances to shine,
Well,
I think
Kadena, this was her first minutes. So
exactly. I think Kadena did a job, which she did it more than enough. Had a few little moments of tackles and clearances, which are nice. But Taylor Hines definitely stole the show in that back line. And then that ball to Stina is just the icing on the cake, really. And that's exactly what you want to see. And obviously, you're going to cop chances. And when you're not playing a full strength defense, you're going to cop a goal. And Mouchon's goal, where she runs from halfway, is pretty excellent. But it was an instant reply, and Kelly played it to Stina, and Stina smacks the ball in the net again, which is what we know she can do. She does it for Sweden, does it for Arsenal. There's not a single time if you know how to play with her. And I feel like Kelly knows how to play with her better than Mead. I feel like they're on the
really,
same wavelength
I don't know
sometimes.
about that. I feel like, well, I think the Champions League final was pretty evident about who can play with
Yeah, I
with
know. I
Stina
feel like,
better.
yes, I feel like that was the move. I just think the speed at which they both play at. I feel like Alessia is more technical, slower, wants the ball more technically provided to her, and Mead can play that ball, but the speed of play is
The
Stina and
the
Kelly,
ball
right?
forward, the
Yeah.
through ball. Yeah, I agree. I
It
think
was so linear, it was so route one, but it just that's exactly what you need sometimes. And I
I
feel like
just
Arsenal are very good at facilitating direct chances. When they get insulted, I feel like that goal was a little bit of an insult because
yeah, I agree.
you shouldn't have conceded it at all. Like they provided very little adversity, and the fact that they had to score a wonder solo goal from halfway all the way down, taking on three players, shows how good your defense is. And then Renee probably saw 3-1 and was like, "Are you joking that we've just conceded that? Let's just score. Let's just do it, and let's end this game because that's what you deserve."
I think just quickly, I don't think Van Domselaar has had the greatest start to the season. I think she was very shaky this game, especially on the ball. I keep thinking, the one thing that I can say about Van Domselaar is her fast distribution, and then I say it, and then that's when she becomes slow, and that's when she makes the mistakes. I feel like she's a player that to me needs a good run of games where she actually keeps a clean sheet,
Build confidence.
which is not something that we've had all season. So bar the nil all with United. So to me, it's I think we need basically to have a solid defense, and then that's where maybe later on, either in the season or in games, we can bring on players like Nice Hines, etc. But I would want that back line to be pretty secure.
I think there's also just like maybe a little bit of nerves as well for DVD. I think like
I
that
think
kind
the
of goal
summer
is
impacted her.
insignificant. That goal is insignificant. She's just come out of the Euros where they got grouped,
Yeah.
not a comfortable feeling, and she's got to remember she's a European Championship goalie who plays off a run of form. Right, she's a very young goalkeeper compared to her competition around the grounds. I mean, Hampton and Van Donzel are probably the closest in age between the two.
Agree.
But then it's either Kiara Keating, who's really young, or you're looking at your Endlers, Burgers, and everyone else who's above 30. But the ceiling is high. It doesn't look like you're looking to replace her.
No.
And Zinzi's injured, so a lot of the pressure is on her, which makes sense. But I don't see her staying in this current run of form for very long. I think the Champions League will definitely bring her back into the swing of things. As we move on to a team that is getting out of jail when they are cooking, to be honest. They are really doing a good job, and it is bugging me because it's ex-Manchester City players running Manchester United at the moment, upsetting as a whole, because I also like Brighton as well, and they just couldn't get near. Just very close, but not close enough.
It was always one step forward, two steps back.
Exactly right. As United fought off Brighton to hold on to a 3-2 victory, as Jess Park and Ella Toone have been working very well this year. They, I believe, have the most goal contributions of any duo in the league combined. I think it's three to each of them, whether it's one goal, one scoring and one assisting the other. But they clearly have played together before at City in that 2017 to 19 era, albeit Ella only playing 5 games for us. Yeah, we played so much together. Probably in training, guys. But they are playing very well, as much as I'd hate to admit it. Jess Park is seriously looking like absolute shoo-in for signing of the season, unless
player of the season, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that's even more depressing. But unless Ellie Carpenter scores a goal a game for the next 5 games and they win the league and the Champions League, I don't see Jess Park being kicked off the top spot, especially as especially all the commotion about losing Clinton, and it's like they haven't lost anyone, to be honest, and Clinton plays a minimum, or I don't know what she's going to play as a role for our team, but that role has been completely eclipsed by Jess Park. Every thought that they had, every like hum and ha about that trade is now disappeared 100%. And I mean, Brighton definitely fought well for a team, an Adjuman-less Brighton.
I was going to say, I don't actually think Adjuman could have done anything in this game. I genuinely think it was a complete outclassing in the final stages. I think Manchester United just know what to do in those last 10, 15 minutes just to seal off a game. It was pretty even other than that, like basically the same amount of percentage, basically the same amount of shots, give or take. So to me, it's more to do with the fact that United knew to bring on subs to close the game off and basically to stifle any of Brighton's attack in the last 5-10 minutes. I don't think Brighton really had the urgency or even the capability to get back in the game the same way that, say, an Arsenal, a City, a Chelsea could.
It took United getting the 3rd goal for Brighton to wake up and get their 2nd. So they were always that one portion behind. But Rolfo and Blundell coming on for Tooney and Mallard at the 60th is exactly what you're saying, the encapsulation of Mark Skinner's UCL management, right? We're going into the Champions League next week, and it'll be a good fight. It'll be a good fight for them as they come up against some tough opposition, but the extra rest will definitely be looked at as incredible management. Even if they drew that game, I feel like they'd still be within arm's reach. But again, even better to get the win and finish off pretty strong.
I think a lot of the criticism previously about Mark Skinner was basically, what do you do with your squad? What do you do when your squad is under pressure on the pitch and off the pitch? We know the institutional problems at Manchester United. How do you advocate for your team both on and off the pitch? I think now he's got a team that really has collectively bought into the project. I think he knows exactly what his game style is. I think we're still tweaking. I think City's still tweaking. Arsenal's still tweaking. I hate to say it, but the top 2 teams, United and Chelsea, I think that they're the ones who really...
We're second.
Sure, whatever. No, but they're the 2 teams that really know how they're going to approach every 90 minutes.
Oh, 100%. I feel like they're the ones with the most tight-knit agenda, no question about it. And I think their variety of goal scorers as well is incredibly helpful, having players that you know can win you a match, whether it's from left back all the way up to the striker, and having Lizzie T as their pseudo Stenius in a way that can come
That's
on
offensive.
and do
Don't
the
say
business.
that.
I
Don't
mean,
say
look,
that.
they're both Scandinavian. They're both first touches are terrible, and they both, with their back to goal from 6 yards, can bury any chance. So
And one has a European Cup and the other doesn't. So
that's very, very true. And one plays for a much better international side, sadly, and one doesn't play for the other international side. So tough, tough, tough. But the elements are there, right? She comes on, impact player, does the business, and is quite a quality striker in terms
I
of
agree.
her ability to score from multiple angles, multiple distances, and multiple feet as well. She is very good with her weak foot.
She is a
And
traditional type of attacker. Yeah,
yeah,
you're not expecting her to dribble past 10 or to create chances for others. She is one of those players that demands, and I think United know this, demands that quality ball in, and she's the one who finishes it
and
off.
that's why they have Park, Tooney, Rolfo, Olme.
Yeah.
These are world class producers and facilitators. To be honest, I hate to admit it, but these are players that if they get anywhere near quarters, if they get to quarters at the UCL, or if they potentially end up top two, which would be really terrifying. You can't really question
I don't
the
know.
class of these players, to be honest.
I think that with two legs they'll struggle.
Yeah.
I think you saw it in the build up, so their qualifiers dropping games early. So those first ones, this is not a Bran, this is not a Hacken, whoever they played in
True.
the games leading up. If they play a Barcelona and they lose 4-0 in the opening game, they are not getting back in. So
A hundred,
to,
100%. I think it'll obviously depend on their opposition, but I'm referring more to the league. If they get back to back Champions League, they
sure.
keep getting that
Yeah.
experience. I think there's no question
Well,
Rolfo's
I
world
think they're getting
class.
Champions League this year.
Yeah,
I don't even think they'll
like
have to
yeah,
qualify,
exactly
honestly.
right. But like having, I would argue 3 out of 4 of those players are pretty much world class at this point, top five in their position, and that's all you can ask for a player like Turland who needs quality around her in order to facilitate her best football. But we'll just move quickly around the grounds to the other teams as Everton, Villa, two of the
6 goal
pack.
thriller.
Yeah, amazing game. The 3-all. God, there was a lot of goals in this game and a lot of nice goals as well. Gago getting a brace for Everton. Martina Fernandez with a brace of assists as well from that defensive pocket, but then also inverts into those attacking spaces as she loves to do. Kitagawa, that finesse shot from outside the
This was
box.
easily her best game slash cameo, if you like.
100%. I think Everton, when they get going, their players just do deliver. It's just their backline. Their backline. They can't hold those counter-attacking runs. And God, did Georgia Mullet and Hansen just take advantage of the fact that their Everton's high line just doesn't ever let up. It's
And
actually
it's been
quite
like this all
naive.
season. It's been like this all season. I think at this point they recognize that the teams below them they will beat. The
Yeah.
teams just above them they will challenge. So I think they'll stick with this philosophy basically. They have a coach who wants to play a specific stylistic tactical style of football.
Definitely. And I think there's a bit of a durational aspect to that and a bit of developmental. And they are getting better at it because their front three are definitely getting the beneficiaries of it. But it is hard to see when like Ruby Mace just is getting copped, and that own goal was terrible. That own goal was really painful to see. I don't like when that kind of shot should never be going in, never be bouncing off that in that direction, and that's so harsh. But
I saw
again,
I saw a
saved.
lot of yeah, sorry. I saw a lot of people say that this is the basically the battle of the potential challenges of the Europa League. And I was and and with that, I think from coming up to that moment, I was like, yeah, these are two teams that are equal that will challenge those like
The
basically
pack, the
fourth, fifth down,
fifth,
right?
sixth, yeah.
And then that own goal goes in, and then I go, no, because still there are technical deficiencies there. We're not looking at a team that will just go on a run because these mistakes will catch up to them.
Do you think either of these teams beat Tottenham?
I think right now, no.
No,
I would have,
exactly.
yeah, you'd have to wait because I don't actually think Tottenham have that squad depth that they think that they have. So I think,
Yeah.
in come next year when we're looking at, countless fixtures toppling on each other, I think it'll be tighter. But right now, no, because I think Tottenham are one of the most informed teams in the league right
I
now.
think their system works. As we move to Tottenham, who got their game over the line against Liverpool after going 1-0 down. Nilden had an amazing game setting up Beth England, but also Koga getting on the score
Mm.
sheet, showing their multiple avenues to goal. Seeing Kathinka Tanberg on the bench was quite interesting. I think she's been
Rest. I
pretty
think
good,
it's
but I
rest.
guess it's just break. Yeah, I guess it's just
You're playing
fitness.
Liverpool. You're literally
That's
playing,
true.
and that's
Yeah,
the point.
take the
Yeah.
time off. But Beth England still got squeezing every ounce of WSL juice out of her, as that finish was just so pure Beth. Like, it's like Beth England in blue again. Like that strike, it was such a good ball across the box. The pace from Nilden was excellent, and then she just schmized that ball into the top corner, which is, how many times have we seen that from Beth England? It's nearly uncountable at this point. But that's where Spurs want to be. Spurs want to be in that position where they're just ahead of the pack, putting pressure on Villa and Everton, who both dropped their chance to take 3 points this week. And Spurs will be looking at the Europa League, and we'll be looking at Signe Gaupset as who could be a potential Europa League hero in next season if they pull her across from Norway and in the summer. I
I
mean,
saw I saw some stuff online about people hate when when basically like when equality happens or equity happens when good players go to the teams that aren't the top two or top three. And to that I say I love equity. I'm a big fan, but
it's all
not.
we are. We are. If there's anything I want anyone to take from this podcast, we believe in football equity.
Yeah, we do. I love football equity, but not when you're going as one of the highest prospect young players. You are not going where you're not going to get anything out of it. You're not going to get anything out of going to Spurs. Either you go there for development, which I actually don't think she needs, or you're going there with security of European football, which right now Tottenham have not proved to be able to get. Now, they may be able to get European football by the end of the season, but I don't look at Spurs and go, ah, yes, I really want to learn off Jess Naz. Yeah, wait,
No,
Jess
but it's
Naz, or do you want to learn off JRK? You want to learn off like these are the
But she's
levels
not
here.
gonna. But there's nothing to that. There's nothing to that. I'm gonna be. We're gonna disagree here. I think that if Gopset wants to do the traditional career path of going through learning the ropes, stepping stone, and then destroy, right? So you look at a player like Grace Clinton, who was at Tottenham, went to United, and is now at City, right? And albeit probably shouldn't be at City at the moment because of how that worked out and that transfer between the teams. I don't think she really had a say in that. But the traditional pathway is through the pack. If you're going through the WSL, it's through the pack. And I could see Gopset at a few sides, but I can't see her starting for any of the top three in the WSL. I just don't see her ahead of anyone in the United lineup or in our lineup. I don't see her starting for Real Madrid with the way their front six are working at the moment. And I don't see her starting for Frankfurt. I think Frankfurt has just as good, if not better, players with more experience in the league than her. And I think Tottenham need a player like this. They need a maverick. They need a killer. Firstly, this is a proven match winner on the top stage. No question about it. Can create, can facilitate, can play in the 10, can play on the wing. She's definitely got leaps and bounds of potential that Martin Ho will definitely utilize with that fast, aggressive fullbacks who love to play that inbound ball across. And if they're playing that ball to the edge of the box, we know Gopset loves that 18-yard strike. And the confidence she'd get from playing in potentially next year the Europa League. If they win the Euro, by the way, if they get into the Europa League next year, their goal will be to win it. Right,
Probably, yeah.
that's your chance. That's
Yeah, sure.
that's your biggest chance to win European silverware if you're Tottenham. If Gopset wins the inaugural Europa League, that already you become your transfer value, the price, the team you get to go to from that, having an amazing Europa League campaign. That's the goal. I think she's not looking at it as what's the best goal right now. It's how do I get the best move in the future? Because obviously Tottenham isn't the end,
Yeah.
but it's definitely the best time to go to a team like Tottenham than it's ever been before.
Look, this might just be because, the Arsenal blood still
Bias.
runs in this body right now.
Yeah.
I'm just
It's not going to disappear. I know
no.
that. That's okay.
But I just think if a team needs you more than you need them, that is a football red flag.
That's true. I don't disagree.
I don't think that you're going to look at Gopset in 5 years and be like, that move to X team, whether it be a Villa, a Spurs, an Everton, a Brighton, whoever, that move is the reason why she's X player now. I think players, especially women's players, learn off the bench, learn off the best because there is no stylistic and technical variety like there is in the men's game. With the men, you're going from Sweden, you're going from Norway, and it's a completely different game. We've seen it with Tandberg, with Spurs. She's been able to adapt very quickly. I actually personally think it's harder to go from outside of Europe to Europe than in and around Europe because she
That's
has
true.
played Champions League before. She's playing in
course.
Europe. I think for me, when I look at the photo that 433 women put up of that AI swap of her with a United shirt, it just looks right to me. It looks like a move that I
no,
can
it looks
see.
disgusting. I
No,
think
it
it's
looks like a move
horrendous.
I can see.
Honestly,
And
but again, that you need them more than they need you. I
I don't
agree. United is better for that, but United also signed Rolfo this year, and United
I
get way
think
more out of Rolfo than Rolfo gets out of United.
I think that you're looking at this from basically getting minutes versus learning. And I'm taking this from the learning. You'd want to learn off
This is
Rolfo.
why
You'd want
Smilla Holmberg is going to Arsenal, by the
No,
way.
no,
This
it's
is
not.
it. The Swedes learning off the bench. They just love the bench.
Why
It's
don't we have
beautiful.
this goes to the question of why we don't have many loans in the women's game, to be fair.
That's true.
The learning
That's a
does not
different
happen.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's
the
a
learning
different
just
question.
doesn't happen the same way that it does in the men.
If Gopset went to a big club in another country and then got loaned to Tottenham,
I would completely that would
that
be
might
the
be
move.
the answer.
That
That
would
might be
the
the
move.
move. And I
Yeah.
could see her doing it as a loanee and then maybe with a loan and an option to buy, and then it would be their biggest signing and they could see what they can do.
And
But
that's where someone like Kang swoops in. Basically,
yeah,
put her at Leon, and then just loan her off to one of your clubs,
Spirit.
LCL, Washington,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, exactly. Get her minutes there.
Yes, the undisclosed player movements. That is lovely. The biggest assassin job this week as we vamos to the Liga F, where the biggest moment of the week by a mile happened, where Real Sociedad and Edna Imade took on the Titans that are Barcelona and won 1-0. Clean sheet for Sociedad. The first loss for Romeu's side and the first goalless loss for Barcelona since 2020.
That game, right, that 2022 game was a 0-0 draw against pretty much a prime Atleti side.
Atleti, yeah, I was
Right.
gonna say.
So this is I remember the game. It was yellow shirt like Barca. This is
Yeah.
prime
Prime
Alexia
Barca.
captain. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
prime Barca, and it's a draw. And at the time, they didn't know that it would take a whole 5 years for a team like Sociedad to be able to clip that record and win rather than just draw.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy game. I think it was a very slyly rotated side.
Yeah.
Only Sarah Geordie.
I don't.
and
Yeah, I don't take anything. I'm not saying.
No excuses.
No
Absolutely
excuse.
none.
There is no excuse for me. Seda Geordie's been playing all season, especially in that midfield. She's no Patri, but at the same time, you have the players around her.
No questions about it. Aisha Kamara has had a really good moments this season, making it feel like Ona's not necessarily needed, but I feel like Ona's not properly fit, which is I think that's
I
the
think
issue
her
at
and
the
might be
moment.
either injured coming off of the Spain break,
Just copped
or
a knock or something. Yeah, definitely, especially after the Nations League playing that double back 90. Leia in the centre half position as well, alongside Marta in the back line. But again, thinking they can get away with it, there's no real excuse here as Edna Imade, the Bayern loanee, who we've been talking about since episode 1, by the way, that if she keeps going the way she does and if Schuller goes down or something happens to Bayern's front three, this is the player to look at who will get that recall.
and knowing Bayern, they're going down already. So
Yeah, 100%. If any injuries come during the year, this is the recall person because she's got 7 in her last 5. She's top goal scorer alongside Pina in the Liga F. and they're level on points with Real Madrid in second. It's crazy. Sociedad creating more than just one chance in this game. An interesting handball for the penalty,
It was
by the
definitely a
way.
handball. It was
No, no,
definitely
no,
a
no, no.
handball.
I'm just saying, like, no, definitely a handball, but I'm just saying, like, very what was going on in the brain department for Leia Alexandri, why she put her arm up like that. But there was not a lot of amazing chances for Barcelona that I saw, to be honest. I felt like you can see that without Kika and without Payet and the injuries start piling up, who is the 9? And when Kika was there, it was like, you know what? They have a saving grace. She can kind of be that hybrid player. But without Kika and moving Lexi further forward and moving Caro further inside, everyone starts becoming the 9.5 out of 10 start becoming 8s, and the 8s start becoming the 7s, and the cracks start to show. And it is quite interesting at this point in the year. But I mean, the only really big talking point was that ridiculous header from Irina Paredes from 18 yards. I don't know what happened. I don't know why that wasn't a goal, to be honest. I guess that Fenga, the Norwegian substitute, touches the ball in an offside position, but I didn't really see her nick onto it. Martine Fenga. I haven't seen her play for Barcelona before, which was quite interesting. But other than that header, they didn't really have a real clear-cut chance, and that was kind of it, really. And the scenes at full time were exactly as it should be. Sociedad at home celebrating like they've just won a cup final, which this is what it is right now. You've beaten the best team in the world on form, and it's pretty amazing to see. And to keep a clean sheet against them is even more bonus, to be honest.
I don't think that I think if you're not a Barca fan, you will take this result and basically expand it to whatever agenda fits you, whether it be Barca don't have enough players in their squad, Barca look tired, this is what's going to happen in a few months when they're going to be run down. To me, this is a typical Barca performance in the sense that they lose their one game of the season, and this is it. It's a frustrating game. Nothing goes their way. They have 80% possession.
Is this the wake up? This is the anime wake up.
They have
the
16,
revenge mode, like
16 shots, none of them go in. That doesn't happen. That's not a normal thing. So basically, this is their one-off. Next week, you can quote me on this. They
El
win.
Clasico.
Yeah, no, is it El Clasico? Is it?
I think so. I
10
think
days?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They will win, and it'll be a game that will probably be spurred a lot by revenge. If it's the Clasico, I think it's the Clasico. It'll be even more than that. It'll be symbolic. It'll be basically we just lost, and also we are playing against our mortal enemies, basically.
So they've got Deportivo next, and then Real Madrid after the
So
week
Deportivo,
after.
to me, Deportivo, right?
Yeah.
That to me is a game where you go. You target that game as a recharge game. You go, that's a game
Full
where we're going to
strength?
win. Yeah, full strength, 7-0. Just full strength 7-0. Then you
Fair
go
enough.
into the Clasico and you're confident, you're comfortable. You've also come off the fact that it's a Champions League game week as well. So you're going to be tired, but I think they should be emotionally prepared.
They've got OH Leuven in the Champions League,
Exactly.
which will be an amazing game for Leuven, but also just a little bit of a like destruction game, which is a definite time to go full strength. But the reality is that this game that Sociedad have is pretty much the blueprint for any top side to implement, because we know this. You can't really play your style of football against them. They are the best disruptors of your game style, and you have to be pragmatic, and that's what Sociedad were. And
It reminded me a lot of the Champions League final. I think that they watched that Champions League final.
They watched some prime Rene ball, I guess.
Yeah.
Another team that's going to be loving the fact that Barcelona dropped points is Real Madrid in Espanyol, winning 1-0, taking all the early chances very, very well as they swapped wings. They took on the chances, the offside goal from Athenea with De Brits playing that ball through, but ultimately it was enough because the 1-0 win was when Fella, who's having, I would argue, one of her best seasons that I've ever seen her play, megs her defender, plays it across to De Brits. De Brits lifts the ball. I actually don't know how this ball goes in because it goes over the player, over the keeper, and then gets in somehow with the deflection. But no big chances after that as they sit 4 points behind Barca. But the early chances from Espanyol ultimately was probably some good practice for Madrid because their defense hasn't really had much to do in the last few weeks as they've been on quite an amazing run since that big loss early at the start of the year. But they took control after the 20 minutes and did the business, and without Caroline Weir as well, which is good.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to mention. If we're looking at someone like De Brits coming in for Weir, and you can, arguably say that there was no crazy difference. That's scary. I think that's scary because to me, for Real Madrid, it's always been the midfield because the midfield has never 100% linked up with the forward line. It's always been a bit out of step or an overpass or an underpass. They look like a machine that is running very smoothly right now. They tweaked really early in the season. They've been rotating heavily throughout the season. So I think Real Madrid, when in 10 days, and we will preview this, when they do play against the Clásico, they'll have the blueprint of Sociedad. They'll have the blueprint of last year.
Yeah,
and
that was the biggest.
And I think they will have the confidence because in their squad, they have confidence.
Yeah, we are fresh and fit. The question is really just the combination that they're going to use because ultimately, I think Athenea is a match winner. I don't know if she'll start against
Well, she started
Barcelona.
This game and got man of the match.
Exactly, but she was best on ground after quite a hiatus from the first team at this point. But Fella's in career best form. You have a midfield mix of Weir, Toletti, Angadal, and De Brits, who are all playing at relatively the top of their game. So I don't know how you choose between those three.
And their backline is solid. Their backline is really solid.
Lacroix's doing a job. Navarro's got 5 assists in the league, which is second out of everyone in the league, which is quite impressive as a whole. I think she's having an amazing season from right back. And the questions will start being asked because Ona is injured and Spain need a right back. And she's definitely not a bad look. They're a great team. I mean, they would have been better with Olga in that left back spot. But look, this is as good a time as any. I know they just beat them, and that 3-1 last year was pretty historic to break the immense drought that is not really a Clásico in any way. But Caroline Weir, if they're going to win this game in 2 weeks, Caroline Weir's got to have her mitts all over this game, and they are definitely going to target her Barcelona and they're going to give her no space on the ball because of what happened last time. And I think if they win this game, we're talking this is as big as a 6-pointer as they're ever going to have because last year it was a big win, but in the broad scheme of the league, it didn't really matter much. It was a consolation win. This is a time where you can actually affect the result of the league if you want to win this game.
Question, how many points do you think that Barca can drop from here on out to secure the league?
To secure the league, how many can they drop? Probably another. If you're talking the idealistic me, I'm going to say 1 or 2, but the pragmatic me says probably 3. I think they can drop 3 games and still make it back. I think Real Madrid, I think they've had moments this season, especially against Tenerife, against Atleti. There are games where they're going to struggle. They're going to come up against opposition that are as good as them or match their miserliness at the back, and they'll cop scoring 1 goal against Espanyol is great and getting the winner 3 points on the board. But if if that ball doesn't bounce off that defender, we're looking at a 0-0 here, right? This is the razor thin margins that are football, and I think Real are definitely running a really nice form high. But can it translate to the Champions League? I think they do have to win in the Champions League in order to facilitate this win against Barcelona, because I feel like if they lose in the Champions League, then they will really struggle to facilitate any sort of confidence into that Clásico.
I think with the Champions League, I think Real Madrid know what they have to do. They've made multiple finals now. I don't necessarily think that for me right now is the concern. I know it's a different proposition because it's a league table and you want to get as high as possible, but they've done it from second place in a group before. They've got into a quarterfinal.
They're second on the league table right now. So even if they do cop a loss, it's pretty okay. It's pretty standard. And they are playing Paris FC. So it is just Lacroix on Mateo, a little bit of a French rivalry there. And as long as they hold her off, I don't really see Paris FC mounting a proper challenge against them. But again, if they're 3 out of 3, that's as good as confidence you need to go into this game. Real Madrid, Barcelona, first and second on the Champions League. This is as close as you're going to be. This is as close as you're going to be. You're going to say, we know how good you are. Now you're going to know how good we are. And I mean, I actually kind of like, I mean, I love Barcelona more than anything, but if we're going to start respecting Liga F and we're going to start respecting the competition that may be, as Atleti are doing a relatively good job across the board, and Real Madrid, the Liga F is starting to come across the way that the La Liga came across in the early 2000s, where they have the best quality players in these three respective teams.
I agree with that. I definitely think that you need to have more equity in the league. I hope that in my own Barca heart and my anti-Real Madrid heart, which is, always going to be the one that has talks first, basically. It's always going to be the fact that Real Madrid aren't the club that they are in the men's. They're not the same respected club.
Definitely
So
not.
someone like Atleti, to me, if it were 2 points between Atleti and Barca at the end of the season, for me that's more of an achievement for the league than if Real Madrid were that team. Just because I know the investment and the time that the federation put into Real Madrid in wanting them to succeed.
Yeah, but I mean, it also becomes a question of like, I mean, if you were doing a Barcelona Real Madrid women's combined 11, it's 11 Barcelona players at this
Exactly.
point. If we're doing an Atleti combined with Barcelona player, there is one player I know who would get in, and that is Fiamma Benitez right now, because the form this girl is on is different. Like, there's only a few players around the grounds that I think are playing better than her, but seriously, Sarajevo, Benitez, Jensen, these are players who are looking to pounce on these flat trackers. Like,
this is a player that I think could start for Spain, basically. Now that Patri's out, I think
100%.
Her,
Or they can
Alexia,
play her.
and
They can play her deep. They can play her in the 8. They can play her in the 8, or they can play Lexi in the 8 and play a double.
absolutely
a double
not.
A.
Absolutely not.
But I mean,
Absolutely not.
obviously they wouldn't. But I feel like Fiamma needs to play further forward, but she just would have to adapt and play the role in the team.
They
But
don't
she could
need a
also play
six.
on the wing.
They don't need a six. It's Spain, Ben.
Yeah, I do forget. I mean, I don't know. Would you rather Sarah Geordie in that 6?
No, I
don't
would
know.
rather Lyra Alexandra in the six.
I mean, that's a great call. Atleti versus Alhama 4-0. Too easy for them.
Yeah.
Gabby Garcia, header goals. Sarajevo taking on defenders, playing Jensen into open nets. The Liz Turland of the Liga F, as I call Jensen, because, I mean, she was just, again, Norwegian hero in the right place at the right time. It's unreal players like Fiamma, and obviously our former super sub of the week, now never bench again, and now should never, ever stop being on a football pitch, Luani, who's mugging off English people, mugging off Spanish people. Is there any nation that likes her that isn't Brazilian? I actually don't know, because this girl is on serious smoke. But all of Atleti are on smoke when they play a bottom half side. I don't really know what happens. I feel like they're playing street ball sometimes. But the
that's
back
the
heel
thing.
and the goals.
We talk about it like this. We talk about basically, you're watching a party of complete, like, just crazy people sometimes when you're watching Athletic, because they can go from the highest of the highs to the lowest of the lows, because they score these incredible team goals, these incredible individual efforts. But when they're against the ropes, which they're obviously not going to be against Alhama, but I'm talking games like Barcelona, who they haven't played yet, games in the Champions League.
Yeah.
That's when we need to see these back heel flicks, these beautiful football, which we know they can play.
No, 100%. And I think that it'll be a big test next week when you're looking at a team like Juve, who can definitely pull out results.
Just miserly, just like disgusting football that they'll play against them.
And they copped it against United, right? So it's not like it's going to be an easy run when they've got Logrono next week, which should be probably a comfortable win, but also easy. But then the week after, a team like Levante Badalona will be comfortable as well. But you're looking at that next game, which is Juventus as the big one. That will be their big test after the United game. Actually, relatively similar teams. I hope that they adjust to that. Hopefully they make it a little bit of a goal fest, because they like that. I think they like when the game is going end to end rather than when the ball is in dispute and one team's dominating possession but not doing much with it. And I think they actually don't like being in possession. I think they like pressing. They like beating teams on the counter, and hopefully they take Juve to their own ideology, right? That's exactly what they want. If Juve want to hold the ball, they've got to be like, you know what, let's see how they handle a Luani, Benitez, Garcia press, and Boarisa comes on and runs like a crazy person, and that's exactly what you want to do. And they will be that third team in the Champions League for Spain, and that third team in the Liga F, who are going to maybe not make it, but definitely shape that top two, especially if they can get a dub against their Madrid counterparts. That's exactly what you want to do. But that's all I have for Spain. The Bunds, where we watched, I mean, I have to say that we had the joy of watching a specific player in Bayern Munich this week in round 8 and round 9. I don't even think it's really worth talking about the games itself. I just want to give this Bayern run of the 4-1 and the 6-0. Leah Schuller, you were great. Harder, you were amazing. But Clara motherfucking Bull, holy shit! Oh my god! The run from the Nations League into these last 2 games. The form is a joke. Like, we're talking 1 goal, 4 assists, plus the Nations League games. I've never seen someone so inevitable on that left side this season so far, 100%. But even in the last few seasons, just she whips the ball in, doesn't even look. She takes on defenders, doesn't care who's in front of her, and then she can cut inside. There's really not much can she header a ball? I don't know, but who cares?
No, because she's the one crossing it in.
She's the one with,
she's the one crossing it in.
Exactly right. Who cares about? Don't even need a right winger. Just sign Pop from VFL, put her in the middle, and just play 4-4-2, and then actually make it 4-3-1 and 2, and then make the 1 on the left side, because Clara Bull is probably the form player in the world at the moment.
9 assists, 3 ahead of her Bayern Munich counterpart, Georgia Sandway. This is a player that, to me, has basically used the Euros as a jumping point to show the world, I'm in contention to be the best left back in the world, and I can prove it. She's so inarguably one of the most informed players right now. She could slot into any team, making them better. She's making Bayern better. I think if they could take out any of those players, but to take out Clara Bull would probably see the end of their Champions League, would see them struggle in the league, because she's creating, she's scoring. I think, for me, what I love so much about her is she's not that graceful, techie type of winger that we love to see, like, even in the league as well. She's a real, just like, traditional type of forward. She wants to get the ball in the box for her strikers and her attacking midfielders who are box crashing. And I love that. I think it's really refreshing.
She's a demon with output. I think she wants to, the way she looks at a defender when she squares them up on that left side, I think she's like, come at me, bro. I'll fuck you up. Like, she's so good to watch. It's unbelievable. But you said the Euros, which is a great talking point, because the other player for Germany who was incredible is Jule Brandt, and I'd argue Jule Brandt had a better Euros than Clara Bull.
I would argue Clara Bull.
But again, it's comparable. It's definitely arguable both ways. But you have one who's definitely the player of the season at the moment in the Bundesliga, no questions asked.
Arguably
and one who
in
can
Europe.
struggle, and one struggling to get in the side for the other team.
But to me, that's because Leon, and I said this when she signed, I said, what Leon need to do is use Brandt's strengths. Bayern know how to use Clara Bull's strengths, because she is the strength. On that left side, there are no crosses into headers. There's no chance creation on the left-hand side if it's not for her. For Brandt, it's a completely different story. They're making chances without her. She's on the bench. So Julie Brandt...
But she's got competition. That's the difference.
But that's the thing. But Julie Brandt is a player that I think domestically has always struggled. And I've said this when she was playing at Wolfsburg. She's always struggled. Clara Bull, it's the consistency for me. She can do it internationally, club form, whether that be the league or the Champions League. I just don't see her slowing down. This is basically, for me, this is a Ballon d'Or style year.
Maybe it will definitely. She's definitely looking like a top 10, top 15. I think.
Top five.
Sadly, the
So
reality
easily.
is,
No, it's so easily top five, Ben. It is so easily top five.
and the reason I mean, right now, yes, it does
If
feel
we're the
like that.
voters, if we're the voters.
If we're the voters right now, sure, she'd be close to the. I don't think she's in the five. I think she'd be close to the five. But personally, look, I hate to say the elephant in the room, but the Champions League is a huge deal. And looking at something like that 7-1 win, I know
Yeah.
she did get the one, but the reality is that if you don't make it far in the Champions League, your chances of winning any semblance of individual accolades in this sport are very low. As much as I disagree with that method, we've talked about that before. It should be point and kill, and right now both of us can point and go, geez, are you watching Clara Bull? And holy moly! But it's a different kettle of fish when we're talking about the end of the year individual accolades. But I do want to mention Leah Schuler.
Back in form.
Back in form. I said when she catches fire, there's no striker better than Leah Rashford when she scores her goal, points to her head. I mean, it is the mindset. Ultimately, like I think that is the only thing limiting her. I think it's definitely a part of her. It's how she thinks about her own game, because when she's in the right spots, the chances she gets. I mean, she was doing the woodwork challenge halfway through these games because she smacked the bar and the post in the second half of this Essen game. And then they pressed Essen in that last 3 minutes as Schuler assists Dahlmann, ending her game with a brace and an assist, which is very impressive. But Tanikawa in the 10, not a lot of changes, to be honest, but they don't need changes when they're smacking up teams really nicely.
I don't think that there's a difference between really the Nuremberg game and the Essen game, bar the fact that I think with the Nuremberg game, they recognized just how superior they are. I think that they were a bit cautious against Essen in the first half, but in the second, specifically from the start to the end of the Nuremberg game, we're seeing goals from the 90th from the 9th to the 90th, we're seeing goals. And so to me, it's the first game is a really good example of how Bayern are now recognizing their opposition, picking their weaknesses, and that's the tactical part of Bayern's game. And then against Nuremberg, it's just the complete stylistic part of their game. They will completely run you over.
But I mean, and it showed their depth as well, because they had Padilla came on and Ket came on, and they did the business against Nuremberg, which was, I mean, you're right, they schmized them from the get-go. Clara Bull was in the businesses again. Narshan Wang as well, also involved in the Nuremberg game, setting up.
But Dahlmann for me, I mean,
Dahlmann definitely like a little bit of a blast from the past, playing on the wing, moving into the central spots. Her press was great. But again, you are right, exactly what you said about the Essen game. I mean, the reason they were hesitant was because of that goal in the first minute, which is probably the best goal of the week, to be honest. That goal by Maya from 30 yards out. Tanikawa passes it to her and she whacks it from 30 yards top corner, which was amazing to be 1-0 up. But again, there was no real confidence in the fact that they were 1-0 up. And that's what Bayern do. They give you no semblance of reality that you're going to win these games, because they swarm you, they overwhelm you, they've got depth, and they've got tactics that allowed their best players to get on the ball in their favourite positions.
I mean, we're looking at both teams as well, that the opposition that they come against are young teams. This is an experienced Bayern side. It was never going to go any other way, and I think the same even if we move on to someone like a Wolfsburg, a team that I thought initially their depth was going to be a problem. But we see in this double game week, it wasn't. I found that they think if it weren't for Bayern, you would be looking at Wolfsburg as having players who were completely taking over this league.
But that Hoffenheim game, Wolfsburg-Hoffenheim, that second versus third game was arguably the biggest game of two halves across the game week. You had Hoffenheim in the first half having 8 chances to 0 for VfL. They got swarmed. They got overwhelmed. It was ridiculous. Am Porter and Laura Glonning taking many of the chances. It was a searchy-less Hoffenheim, by the way, and they still made a mockery of them in the first half, but to no avail. No goals. Again, 8 shots to 0. You can go into that second half and say, we can't really play worse than that. And then that's what happened, right? So VfL dropped 14 chances to 3. Momentum swung. Berenstein does what she does best, opens the scoring, and
comes on and opens the scoring. She was on the bench initially, which surprised me.
As she does. She's the impact sub that she is. But Stine Johannes also made some ridiculous saves, by the way, in that first half. I think she made 6 for the game. I think she actually got man of the match.
She was man of the match. She made 6 saves. I mean, this is a player that I think, if it weren't for AKB, is arguably challenging for second best German keeper.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Froms is getting beaten because she's not playing enough, and
Well, she's injured.
Gross, yeah, no, but Gross as well for Bayern also having minutes, but she's not the standout. I think Stine Johannes's run in the German Nations League games was pretty incredible. Made some amazing stops, especially the Mallard one, but Levels basically nearly gives up this game with that penalty on Glonning after I glazed her all last week. But they scored the penalty, and you think it's going to be 1-1, and Hoffenheim's got back into this deservedly. But Levels doing what Levels does, whips that ball in, and a super sub in Velotto one-touch volleys the clearance into the bottom left corner.
This is the most Woso volley. I can't explain it other than to say I see this goal every week. It is depth perception issues by the keeper and then technique by the player. It's like,
it's a techie strike. The way it skips past all these players.
To me, this was a classic. What I mean, classic Woso strike. This is like hits the shin. This is hit a shin pad definitely on the way through, right? The keeper's like watching it in awe, but it's past her. It's fantastic. I see it every week.
But it is in the side netting though. Like
every week,
side netting. It is beautiful. And then if we're going to talk about that round 9 game, I mean, VFL are just rubbish in the first half. I don't know what it is about this first half nonsense, but Haverkamps scores from a corner. The Union Berlin girl scores from a corner to get the opening, and then Huth was the only good chance they had was Huth's big whip to Latvine, who also hasn't had many minutes this season. No. But other than that save in the first half, had an amazing second half as she takes the second goal and sets up the first goal as well. Huth whips it to Bierenstein, hits the post, and Latvine gets the rebound. And then Latvine sets up Pop to get the 2-1 very quickly. And then Velotto gets a sealer as well in 3-1, and Pedamores to finish with a great strike as well. But they've got so many avenues to goal. They've got so many creators. They've got great depth. They've won 9 of their last 11 games. Is this finally the title challenges we need for Bayern Munich? Probably not, but look, they've never. I haven't seen them in this level of form since they were challenging for Champions Leagues, and they had Ewa and Garrow and a lot of other players that you could definitely reel off as ex-Barca or ex-Lyon. Like it's ridiculous how good they were and what they're trying to achieve with probably a new crop of players that they kind of go under the radar, Wolfsburg. It's not like they're taking top of the cream of the crop players and bringing them into the project. They're taking youngsters, they're keeping their old guard, and they're saying, you 20-year-olds, learn from the best because they still know what they've got.
I think Wolfsburg is a really, really good example for any team who wants to balance their squad out. You know, players all the way from the top, from 35 to 19-year-olds. Like, this is a team that recognizes that basically the thing I was talking about earlier, learning off the players that you're around. I mean, you're someone like a Pedamores, and you're learning off of the players like Valeto, like Minge, like Rudfin. You're learning off of them. And Huth as a 34-year-old, Pop as a 35-year-old, the youngsters are learning off of them.
100%. And that's all you can really ask for as you look at other teams in the league who are trying to learn off their individual successes and veterans. So a team like Frankfurt beating Hamburg in the round 8 game 4-0, having a player like Illerstedt taking on the role of, I mean, ultimately their pedestal in defense and in the forward line with that header.
Is Frankfurt just not the most Swedish domestic team around? Come on.
I don't know what that means.
Blomqvist 1v1. Blomqvist 1v1 misses, right? Yeah. But then they have Illerstedt come in for the header. They're scoring worldies because goalkeepers can barely goalkeep. It's incredible. They're a team that takes advantage of their opportunities, but randomly, I feel like they're not creating as much as I've seen them create before, and they're really riding off the bank of a great patch of form by Aniomi.
I mean, yeah, she definitely, that Nations League probably gave her the kickstart to this season that she needed. I think Frankfurt kind of do a little bit of an Arsenal thing where they score and they
Yeah,
go
that
into game
Arsenal-like,
management
very
mode.
Arsenal-like.
Altenberg had 7 shots weathered at her as she saved all of them. But Hamburg just should have scored in that first half. I don't know how they didn't. And then the second half, Frankfurt ran away with it as the ref finally gives a pen to Anyomi for the third time. This ref, by the way, in this game was so emotive, so angry. It was just like, stop diving, stop diving. Mate, it felt offensive at some point. Like she is getting brought down badly. And then, I mean, if you're going to win a penalty, I think there's no question about who you give it to in that Frankfurt lineup. It doesn't matter if you have the best striker in the world. Sense is taking your penalties, and Sense will score those penalties. And then Anyomi lifts it to FRAUEN for her first goal of the season so far, and Graw with the long shot. Just, I don't know what to say about this goal. I really don't know.
Again, another great Woso goal. We
It's
forget
painful. That
we
one was
forget
painful.
that we forget that goalkeeping is still miles behind as an equity kind of thing. I mean, we're always going to get these flops from keepers that you just don't see
Yeah,
regularly. But
yeah, but it does exist, and this one was just particularly sad to make it 4-0. Probably should have been a 3-0 win, maybe even a 3-1. But also Frankfurt played this morning. I know we didn't really
did you watch it? Did
mention
you
it.
watch this game?
I did watch this game
To
where
me,
Anyomi bails them out, really.
geez. But
This was not a deserved slide in, because Kern had more shots, more chances created, no
and it was an
question about
unchanged,
it.
it was an unchanged Frankfurt side, and that to me is a difference between them and their opposition. Wolfsburg, Bayern, they changed their sides in a double game week. Frankfurt can't basically, and to me, this is a game you start Rasso, and then this is not even because we're Australian and we know how good she is, but you start Rasso, you start Reason, you start. These are players that you want. You start. You chart Chiba. I don't understand.
Chiba and Ivelj definitely should have been in this game. I feel like this was a great moment for Ivelj and Mehmeti to play and Rutala to stay off and come on as a cameo to end this game. But I mean, Illerstedt came off before halftime. I mean, Mehmeti also came off. They definitely did go into game management mode after they conceded.
When they went 1-0 down, they went into game management
Well,
mode.
they had to do something. They had to run the narrative of this game. But this game is a perfect encapsulation of why Frankfurt won't be in the top 2 race, in the title race at all. And they're sitting 6 points behind Wolfsburg, and they're actually sitting a game behind Leverkusen at the moment, who also backed in a win as well, I believe. But that was against Hamburg as well, and they just held off their opposition in a 2-1 win. But again, Frankfurt making me at the start of the year looking a bit of a mug. I thought that this was the perfect time to use the depth that they acquired, the veterans that they have, but clearly I just think
Who looks more the mug? Is it Rasso for moving there or Reutela for not moving?
that's a great
Yeah.
question. I think the answer is Reutela. I think it's Reutela. I think Rasso, there was an idea. I don't know what Reutela was thinking. I just feel like she was wanted by good clubs.
She was wanted
She
what
would
you
have
she
got
was thinking what
minutes.
you were thinking, basically.
Yeah, there's no question about it. She's a player with. I mean, again, maybe it's a year off. Maybe she goes next year. I think if you're looking at the project now, they might not make Europe next year. I think she'll be even cheaper on the market, and everyone will go after her. And the Swiss international will definitely play for a top 3 club anywhere around. Like, see, the way in which you were talking about Gaupset, that's the way I would talk about Georgina,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
Georgina
really.
Georgina would play for us. Georgina would play for United. I think she'd play for Madrid personally. I think she definitely gets in that midfield 6.
Reutela looks like such a Madrid player.
Exactly. You can see it. You can see the vision, But I mean, there's another team that will definitely go after her, and that's in Ligue 1. As we move to the French league, which is Lyon, who won relatively unconvincingly against Paris FC, a 1-0 win, a quiet, uneventful game.
They did not want to play this game. None of those players wanted to play this game. They rocked up and they looked. Was Kang in the crowd? Yes, she
No.
was. No, she was in the crowd.
Oh, really?
I thought she was in the crowd with the famous for Megan Rapinoe from what I saw on
Oh,
Twitter.
she was there, but then how was she there and then at Arsenal and
She
then at
has a
Chelsea as well?
private jet.
But
She has
but
a
it's so
private jet.
annoying. Like, why does she get to do that?
Then I was like, well,
She doesn't even
yeah.
own Arsenal yet. Like
Yet.
yeah. Oh, it'll happen. Kroenke will sell. It's okay. But Tegan Micah, shout out my Aussie number one, by the way, who definitely did want to play this game. The way
Yeah,
she
she
saved
did.
that long
Yeah.
shot, though. To be fair, Paris FC's goalie Chavas as well. Both keepers were up to play, which is why it was a 1-0, to be honest.
This was
But
also the first time Engen was in the backline with Renard since game week 1, and this was,
true.
I
And
think, her
thoughts?
best game. This was her
Yeah.
best game. She,
Player of the match.
yeah, I won't take this thought. This thought came from Twitter, but I saw someone shout out, I think it might have been even the first game, just basically like Engen, just, ping the ball long. Like, she wants to do it. She just looks for the short option first. It's like that La Masia Barca
I was
brain
gonna say,
activates.
did it give you like a some nights I'm thinking about you when she whips the ball to our number two?
It gave me early Norway vibes, like basically like old Wolfsburg vibes as well when she was back there. But this is an aspect to Leon's game, the run onto the long ball. It's something they've been doing for eons now.
I mean, you were talking about Woso moments. The way that ball bobbles
Yeah.
all the way to Chawinga is pretty Woso. But I feel like Ada should have had the first opener when Demorno played her in and Chavas stops her 1v1. Chawinga heads it to Diani from a bash across, and then that ball gets stopped on the line by Koroshek. I mean, look, this is what Leon do. They're just the chance creation machine. It's almost as much as their revenue machine. It's just destruction and inevitability. Honestly, this league is just weird to watch because they have so much control even when they're not winning. But I mean, their rotations are amazing. They can bring on whoever, and if they don't have anyone, they'll buy someone. It's so good. Their bench was arguably better than their field in this game. Having
Really? You
Tarsman,
think so?
like you're looking
Really?
at Chawinga coming on, Tarsian coming on. These are their first
Besho,
team
yeah.
players, right? Like
Yeah.
this is how good they are. De Mornay didn't look like she got out of second gear in that game. I didn't think she even sprinted the whole time. The way I was watching her, but Diani is just, I don't know what's going on with Diani. I feel like she's about 2 micro yards away from scoring every goal and then just doesn't score. I don't
She's
know
in
what
her
it is.
Stina. She's in her Stina era, just
Yeah,
basically like she sees the goal, she knows exactly what she
Stina
can
with
do.
a touch. Stina with the touch. She should be the best player of all time. If Stina had Diani's touch, she would be starting for Arsenal.
Do you know what though? This actually might be a great case for why Woso is finally catching up with men's football, because
Which is?
Diani is the traditional winger that is just going to bag like 10, 11, 12 goals a season, but she goes through those periods, right? This is exactly it.
She does have her
goes
dry
through-
spells
the
and her
Vinny,
patches.
the Vinny is a great example. You doubt them and then boom, they score a brace on you.
Bang, bang,
They're
bang, bang,
scoring
bang.
hatties. Yeah, it's
She does have the way to describe it. Her ceiling, her ceiling is Clara Ball, and her floor is Rathon.
That's so mean.
But
That's so mean.
look, hey, I'd say that's a compliment to Rasso. To be fair, by the way, like
She
yeah,
hates Tilly's in the French, history
yeah,
there.
exactly. I mean, hey, Rasso scored her penalty and Diani did
Diani
not.
did.
And there we go. PSG, if we're speaking about ex-PSG Diani, PSG also got a win. And who did I say that PSG needed to start last week when I said that PSG aren't creating enough chances, they aren't scoring enough chances, which is the key? I said that Belgian girl with the scary face needs to be on the field. And my God, did she scare their goalkeeper.
Did you say Belgian?
Well, oh no,
He's
not Belgian.
Dutch.
Sorry, not Belgian, Dutch. Sorry. Yeah, but she's just an animal when she's on. Like Lukta is just a demon. I think when she's in full flow, she definitely knows how to convert one-on-one chances. But again, I don't know what Genie was doing there at the centre half who played Lukta in for that first goal. And then Lukta wins the penalty and converts the second. So they were 2-0 up in 22 minutes. But that's kind of where ultimately my praise for PSG ends, because I mean, they couldn't really feed the Dutchie more, but 20 shots, 9 on target, 2 big chances. So they've still got the attacking issues.
And they're still playing this stupid formation. No
Oh,
one wants
yeah.
this. No
Yeah,
one
it
wants
is a
this
bit
formation.
it is a bit weird. I don't know what the manager is playing at, but Lukta should have actually had an assist and a half from that set piece. The ball to Echegini hits the bar with a header, and then this 18-year-old Graziani, I don't know if you saw the dead ball free kick. My Jesus, that just, I think the bar's still being vibrated against. That strike from 30 yards from a free kick is crazy. And then Florian George from 5 yards out. I mean, my Canadian up and coming god, just French goat, but nah, you got to score that. I'm sorry. But a great save from the Le Havre goalie. But if they're your best chances and they're falling to 18-year-olds and centre halves and bench players, then the question is, where are your goals coming from? And even though they're second in the league now, which is where they should be, I just question what is the plan for PSG this season. I think it's to get further in the Champions League. But again, with what strike forced, Ajibade seems to be off form and out of the front team and didn't even come on against Le
She was
Havre.
the only player who didn't come on bar the second keeper, which is incredible.
Crazy.
I think this is a classic case of basically just getting too many midfielders and defenders in past transfer windows. They haven't really been able to get that marquee forward yet. And if anything, they've lost their marquee forward in Katoto. So it's the fact that you lose someone like that and you don't replace them, you're not going to be getting those goals, those shoe-in goals that you'd be getting from someone like a Katoto. So basically, you're looking to your midfield, you're looking to your flanks. And I think right now, for me personally, you're looking too much centrally to someone like Karchawi to be creating, and she's completely taken away from what she can do, which is be a real marshal. Because remember, she's a fullback ostensibly. So she loves the run, she loves the overlap, but she's their captain, so she loves the marshal. She has too many jobs right now for her to be doing what she does best. So I think PSG are going to struggle in the league to contain this form. I know obviously Paris have dropped points as well, but I think them and Paris right now are the two teams that will be fighting out for that second spot.
What do you think of their upcoming Champions League bout against Manchester United, or what I'd like to call the Mary Earps derby?
I mean, they're going to get absolutely flunked. They're going to get absolutely flunked. There is, to me, not only technically they are so inferior to Manchester United, but tactically, systematically, it's a complete shambles right now in PSG, let alone talking about the PR disaster that is Mary Earps.
A perfect transition ultimately. Can I just say, against Le Havre, very good game.
She had a great game.
Great
She
game.
didn't have to
It was
do anything.
probably
What
her
did she have
best
to do?
game of the year, I'm going to say.
She stopped the dead ball. Good for her.
Yeah,
Good for
I
her.
mean, that's all you can really ask for when you come up. You can't choose your opposition, Allegra. That's how it works. But you can choose what you say in the public
What you release in a book.
and
Yes,
you can choose what you release to the public as well. As we are going to, this is a new segment where, we've just called it in our prep doc. It's called Mary Earps versus the world. The world at this point is just Hannah Hampton, Serena Weigman, and Sonia Bompastor.
And all the English
And
fans
every
that
single
hopped on
English
in
pundit.
2025.
Exactly, who has spoken about this issue. Look, I don't think there's much that we need to regurgitate. I feel like people know what has been said. I feel like we don't have to repeat what people know has been said. I feel like the best thing for us to do is to give our opinion on it, because that's why they're here, right? They want to know, how do we feel about Mary Earps? How do we feel about Hannah Hampton? What do we think about the situation as a whole? And ultimately obviously you can talk about what has been said. That I'm not going to stop you from saying anything, but I want you to tell me what you think about the situation itself and how you're feeling about Woso as a whole at the moment.
Woso right now is in this really interesting predicament. I think we haven't really had a player. I mean, first of all, the uptake in books is insane from a group of people.
That would have been my first thing. That was my first thing that I wanted to say.
From a group of
I wanted to
people-
say, guys, stop writing books. The football hasn't left you yet. Keep writing.
From a group of people who prior to this were thought of as illiterate. We're writing too many books. I'm sorry, we're writing too many books. But despite that, we're living in an era where, basically, if you're online, everything you put out is there for public opinion. If you don't have the PR team to do it, then do it yourself and dictate the message. Because right now, Mary Earps is in a position, she's there to be heard, and what she's saying is poor in quality, by the way. I mean, the excerpts of the book are just poor. I mean, she sounds like a child. But furthermore, she's talking about unresolved conflicts with people where she's saying her side without taking any consideration at the fact that she hasn't even talked to these people to talk about, resolving this issue. She's talked about, oh, there's nothing bitter. There's no bad blood. Say that to Hannah Hampton and Serena Wiegman, who you absolutely mug off, just stab in the back in this book. They have absolutely no way to respond to you because it's in written format. As Sonia Bonpastor said it, it's just basically classless.
Yeah. And look, you said it with passion and you said it with truth. Honestly, my biggest issue with this whole situation is the lack of recognition of what she thought would happen. I understand that this is a press run. Everyone is going to read your book now, and congratulations to you. I hope it's worth it. But don't act like you don't want eyes on you when you write a book. You're trying to tell lived experience. I understand. Truth, lies, I don't really care. This is how you feel. I totally understand that. But when you're talking about things that happened, you are going to invite the opposite opinion. And I think Ellen White said it best, where I actually think she nailed one aspect of it, which is the whole, when you're in a team, you kind of keep things in your own bubble. And I think that part of elite sport needs to disappear. I actually don't like that whole narrative that you're in this elite category, which means that nothing needs to be said, nothing needs to be taken accounted for. And when you're in those environments, only you guys can know. That's why teams develop and appoint and get sports psychologists and specialists into teams, because they can't deal with the secrecy. They can't deal with the clickiness. They can't deal with the natural hierarchy of elite sport that exists. And I think that's my biggest takeaway from the actual Mary Earps versus Hannah Hampton thing, which is what I don't understand hasn't been mentioned by any of the prominent pundits, and they just talk about the mental health aspect of Hannah Hampton and Mary Earps, who are both going to go, by the way, going to go down as England's two best goalies of all time. No question about it. They're both won Euros. They've both been incredible. No questions about it, right? But the part that I don't understand is that no one mentions that international football is a meritocracy, yeah? When you are not the best keeper in the world, there's only one goalie on the field, yeah? That's what happens. Tough, yeah? And this is the part where, when we're talking about classless, it's not about what Mary Earps said. It's not about what she said in this press run. It's about the fact that you could have sat on the bench. You could have been a mentor to a 21 to 23-year-old who, albeit was incredible, needed support, probably would have been under your wing as the next in line, and you decided, you know what? Screw this, I'm going to retire. And sure,
as a stab in the back, yeah.
Yeah, and you can say there are other factors to it, and I understand that it's not just that, and I understand that players don't have this immense pursuit to win everything. But if you sat on the bench like you were Morehouse or Kiara Keating, who, by the way, actually had chances to get minutes in that Euros tournament in the second game. And if you were on the bench, that third game in the group, you would have played. No question about it. And you would have got your minutes. You would have got your second Euros medal. And no one would question the fact that you walked so Hannah Hampton could run. You'd go down all time as the best goalie that Britain has ever had, because you'd have 2 Euros under your belt, and everyone would give you the respect and the class and the merit that you believe you deserve, right? And you know what? You do. You have all the accolades to prove it, but you decided that you weren't right for the bench. You decided that your position in the team sounded like a bit of bullshit to me. That was your words. I'm not taking them out of context. No one else is taking your words out of context. You've provided the excerpts. I'm not going to read the book if you've provided the excerpts. This is the parts that we're going to go off. We're not going to go off bits we don't know. I'm not going to make up things that you haven't said. But the reality is that when you put out excerpts of a book and you do a PR run and you say that you're not trying to offend people and you're on good terms with people, don't release bits where you're telling people about the times that you weren't on good terms with them, because you come across petty and shoddy, and also, I mean, the antithesis of what everything we've come to know about Mary Earps personally.
When I said 2 to 3 weeks ago that Mary Earps will do a generational Hope Solo-esque run of insanity, I was not joking. These goalkeepers are all the same. Do you not
To be fair,
understand?
goalies are messed. As a whole, why do we care about goalkeepers?
Because
Honestly,
because
they're
apparently
myth.
they give Woso the most content. And this is what I said to you. And the minute that it dropped, this is so US Women's National Team. You know, the bitterness post career, the talking about the clickiness and the really high expectations that yes, they put on themselves because it is a high intense professional environment. But you know, England fans, ex-pros, they'll be surprised because this is not the PR that England wants right now. They're seen as basically the antithesis of what we saw for the golden generation of the men, the broken up club relations that tore this team apart. You don't see that with the women because the fraternity is there, the single effort of just getting the medal, getting the win. That's what's there when you think of basically Serena Wiegmann's time with this England team. But I mean, to me, what I see is Mary Earps is offering little reflection, self-reflection at least. She's projecting her experiences onto the reader in a one-sided conversation. And the behaviors that she's damning Hannah Hampton to have had are A, behaviors that were in the past, and B, behaviors that she has not told us. So we can only imagine. For me, when she says disruptive, that's me going, oh, she's footy kicking the ball over the fence and she's asking someone, one of her slaves, to go and get them. Like, we don't know. And we can have ex-pros like Rusha Littlejohn hop on a podcast and be like, yeah, she is disruptive, and then give us exactly the same context, which is nothing. So for me, right now, I look at Hannah Hampton and I go, I mean, I don't like you because you're a Chelsea player, but I can respect you as a
And
player.
also, she has like little excerpts and bits where you do watch Hannah Hansen. She is a little bit of a brat, but also she plays into it. Like that's part of the Hannah Hampton show. I think of all the keepers, I mean, before this press run, I would say Hannah Hampton's probably the goalie with the most PR on her back by a mile before Mary Earps being like, oh, why is she at PSG? That was kind of her whole talking point. But Hannah Hampton had that whole podcast talking about Katakoi and the bottle and all the stuff, and she talks about how she got death threats from people, and like she said some weird stuff in the last 3 to 4 months, and like, okay, I don't, if she experienced death threats, I mean, the people who are sending Hannah Hampton death threats, you've got to be the lowest of the low. Like, send it to someone better than Hannah Hampton. Come on, like there are higher people on the hit list, you know. but before this, Hannah Hampton's reputation is not of like one of like immense respect.
I think it's an if you
she's
know,
she's
you
a
know.
bit of like a lone soldier in that sense. Like she comes across in a way where she's not like universally adored. I think Hannah Hampton is a relatively divisive character who's actually been made out to be the normalized character in this
It's funny,
narrative.
they've made out a 21-year-old to be just like this such an evil person. Like she threatened a family at gunpoint at St.
Yeah.
George's Park. Like
What did she did
seriously.
nothing. She did nothing, and it's really bad that the 32-year-old is coming across with the emotional immaturity of a 21-year-old in this situation. And this doesn't take away the individual on-field aspects of both of them. I personally don't think if you are on the field, you should be writing books off the field. Just leave it for the end of your career when you need something to do. If you can write a book and play elite sport at the same time, we've got serious issues. But like I can tell you now, like Olga, Mary, write about other things, you know, like please, I'm begging you. I think there are better things to do than harp on European camps and talk about old things that didn't actually happen that long ago, honestly. Like I feel like it's so fresh.
And they won it as well. And
Yeah,
it's like
it
if they
makes you
had
look
lost
even
it,
more petty. Yeah, it makes you look even more petty that they
you won.
won
You
as
have the
well.
medal. You can say she's writing the book, looking up at her Euros medal and her picture next to Serena Wiegmann and going, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tarnish this memory for 3 people, myself included.
Yeah, it's really just an encapsulation of what I expect from a player that is that good making a mistake. She made a mistake. She made a mistake. She didn't play in that Euros. She didn't know how to deal with it and probably wasn't particularly happy to see her team without her win Euros. I just think that's the reality, and no amount of Hannah Hampton glazing Mary Earps at any award show is going to change that and say that she was this mentor and this role model. I think she probably thought that was a bit of a kick in the guts because of the undertones of what they know about each other now, and that's the situation as it may be. And
Earpsgate, Earp-apocalypse, it
I mean,
happened.
I pray PSG come up against Chelsea this year, but I don't think it happens.
Do they
I
shake
don't think it
hands?
happens.
Do they shake hands?
I think PSG get knocked out of this UCL, sadly, with no points at the moment. I mean, shock to Kelly O'Hara, not a shock to me, but I think that's the end of Mary Earps' run in the UCL, and Hannah Hampton might go on to win it, and that would be even more salt in the wounds. Emphasis on the salt, emphasis on the wounds. The SERIE, which is starting to cook, it's starting to chef some nice results.
Anyone who says like Serie A is basically like, the championship. It's like the league that you know about, but you're like it's over there. The league is not that great technically. Still,
watch Roma play football.
Oh my god, Ben, I've been watching Roma for years. Ben watches one game, turns on, watches Giuliano cook, and he's just like in awe.
No. To be fair, I've watched Giuliano. I've watched all 390. Her 390s. I actually didn't watch the game where she didn't get player of the match. I didn't see that. But the games I've watched of her, she is so leaps and bounds ahead of every other player on the field. It's actually a joke. I feel like she's just this like religious figure in Rome. Like she runs.
Giuliano.
Yeah, it's her Colosseum when she runs, and her technical ability, her timing, the ability to know when to go forward, when to go back is the reason why they have a goal difference of +10. They haven't lost a game. They schmized Inter in that game. Oh my days.
And this is it. And an early call. This is it. This is Roma's time. It has to be. Juve, they're dropping points. They're not playing the style of football that they haven't. Personally, I think their squad is weak. Sorry, Leah Velti. You've gone from European champions to scrape in the barrel for, Durelli. And just, I personally, I think right now, Roma are in that prime point. I think that they were in even 2 years ago, but I think they're hitting it. They have the players to
They've got the oldies, they've got the youngies, Corelli, Dragoni, and Alaya Pilgrim as well in there as that firepower.
My Swiss goat.
Your Swiss goat. What a disgrace. But, I mean, they did smash into 3-0. Pandini, Dragoni, and then Evelyn Veens plays that back heel looper to Giuliano for that volley. And, I mean, she does the Dybala celebration. I mean, I remember the times where Dybala was the best player in the Serie A, and, like, it's giving those vibes. It's giving that aura, to be honest. But, I mean, I know you've ruled off Juve. I think Juve will do it again. I just think 5 points, it's so early. 5 points is not enough. And eventually it will happen. I think eventually, like, Roma will get found out. The back line, their depth isn't immense. And if they get found out and a few injuries happen, the youngsters start playing and then oldies can pounce. But Cambaji got a brace for Juve as they beat bottom of the table. I know it's not a big win, but ultimately they're the team. They're always the team that are going to chase, honestly. And I think Juventus are the biggest challenges for Roma. But I want to talk about my Italian goats, which is AC Milan, getting it done in the game of the week. The game of the week, the 4-2 win over Lazio. 5 goals in 54 minutes. Honestly, I wasn't watching this game. I watched it on replay. But I was refreshing my phone on shift every time, and it was just a new goal. I'm like, what the hell is going on in this game? But Lazio were 3-2 down. They get a penalty, and she misses. She misses the pen, and then EJ gets the winner, runs the field, destroys the goalkeeper, and seals it, a 4-2 win. Milan obviously having players that can do a job and can get over the line, but I feel like it's the depth. It's always the depth with these Italian teams where their 11 is solid. Fiorentina we also should talk about because Yanagi, top goal scoring in the Serie A at the moment, and just getting her name on the sheet at all times. But I just think it's always the 11 that's good, and then once the 11s disappear in late games, it's the depth. And I think Roma have the best depth and the best control at the moment.
I think Serie A has always been defined by fine margins. I mean, Juventus won it by 4 points, I believe, last season.
Yeah, not big, not big.
No, but it's a league where because the style, and I've said it 100 times, style and tactics are basically the same across the board. You're looking for those individual moments, those breakaway moments, and that's where your starting 11 comes in, and that's where the quality comes in.
It offers more opportunity for technical players to do the business, which is why, I mean, we were talking about Rutula in the German league. It's physical. Like if she moves to the WSL, it's a physical league. If she wants to win the Serie A, she could move and she could be the maverick that she is at Frankfurt in a Serie A team. And
Pilgrim link up.
Yeah, and they could end up in the Champions League. They could build a little bit of a super team in that Italian hole in the Colosseum, which is what you really want. Ultimately, Roma are going to be looking to break the drought of Juve, but Juve will come for them. But if they want to cement an actual title challenge for Juve, because that's what it is. Juve are the champions, the defending champions, and Roma are going to give them a run. We can say Roma are the ones to beat. The reality is, until you're no longer the defending champions, you are chasing the defending champions, and you've got a little head start now. Let's see how long they can hold it for. We are going to move back down the grounds. We're moving down under to our league, our home league, the Dub. We're only going to talk about our games because, I mean,
Central Coast are first. They're first.
Yeah, that is wild, to be fair. But
why? They won the league last year.
I mean, yeah, but we're not talking about them.
No.
I don't want to talk about serial winners. I want to talk about my team shotting up a game, drawing to Sydney, and Sydney have a child in their team.
do we say here that the City thing for you is now even closer to home because it's a Melbourne derby for international listeners?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think ultimately this game, I mean, it was a perfect encapsulation of what City are capable of and incapable of, because we have players, we have youngsters who can do a great job, and we still have Holly Mack, who is going to deliver regardless of. I mean, I would say arguably she had a relatively average game, and
she was shocking.
And then
burst out
for her
of nowhere.
standards pretty poor, and then had that moment of magic that set up the goal. But again, even after we scored and leveled it for 2-2, we still didn't look like getting the winner, which sucks. But great moment for Keane as she gave away that penalty and then slots home the leveler. But I mean, all eyes were really on Willa Pearson, to be honest. I think we have to talk about it. The youngest debutant in A-League history, a 14-year-old at centre-half. Not like they're playing fullback, like centre-half, doing an amazing job, playing on the back shoulder of McNamara. I mean, there's not much else to say, really, other than the fact that for big portions of this game, this 14-year-old had arguably the best we have to offer in Australia.
I like to regurgitate, this is going to be rogue, I'd like to regurgitate a Natalie Portman quote.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what's happening here, but I love
Natalie
the clip.
Portman, Natalie Portman, she invested in Angel City, and she said the only career where you are working as a child is football and acting. Everywhere else, it's considered child labor. And I personally think we knock off football off that list, because this is the most egregious act of institutional failure. What do you mean you only have 3 centre-halves? You're a professional football team. You only have 3. One goes down. Where are we looking? The 14-year-old? Are you crazy? One injury, one tackle, one missed pass.
Yeah, I'm surprised Holly didn't just give her weights. That would have been, I mean, it would have been very, very filthy, but come on, welcome to the league, welcome to the league.
I commend her for the fact that she came up, by the way, in the first game. So this is not warmed up Holly McNamara. This is McNamara coming back off of international break all the way from England, the UK. So to me, it's, if you have an asset like a 14-year-old who you've identified as being that good to be in your first team, how are you not putting her on ice? How are you not helping her engage in the team in a way that eases her into the squad? This is obviously...
Maybe come on, play 20 minutes, get a little cameo, no.
This is the exact issue that the A-League will fail to talk about, which is basically why the fact that we don't have a second division is the problem. There is no way that these players can play. The NPL here finished. It's finished. It plays in the winter. The A League starts in the summer. Where do they
Yeah.
play in the off season? Do they just do,
There is no off season. There
No,
is no off season.
there's
They
no
don't
off
get
season.
time to do a. They don't get time to do a preseason cycle, and then also because they don't make enough money when they finish their time in the A League and the season's done and they go into finals, these teams regress back to NPL and even VPL, and they get paid the numbers that they need to live in order to play. So they actually don't get time to cycle through a preseason. They don't get time. They do micro cycles, which is crazy. And to put this 14-year-old under the micro cycles, because look, the season will be done. She'll want to play NPL, which is what she'll do. And she'll move back to the, I don't know if she'll probably play NPL seniors. She won't be playing NPL under 16s at this point. But the reality is that when you look at this moment, it's exciting, interesting, but also, yes, as you say, quite weird. It's very endemic of the greater issues in the league. And I feel like it's seen as this like coming of age moment. Wow, look at our youngsters, look at our youth crop. But I think it says more about the current crop at the age of 18 to 20 who can't break those barriers, and the fact that we're looking that young for our quality. I mean, look, it's an exciting moment. Who knows what she can be? I mean, the reality is I've read up about her, Willa, and she's an unbelievable cricket player. She's an unbelievable AFL player. She's playing. This is what happens. This is what happens in Australia. These women, these female athletes, they're multidisciplinary and they have to choose. And the reality is that she doesn't have to choose because she's still playing the state level at all of these sports, and then has just decided to play NPL and then A League now. But again, you have to pick. And a lot of players are ex-football players or ex-AFL players or ex-basketballers. I mean, Elise Perry has more World Cup knockout stage goals than Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, that's all that really matters to me in the Matildas. She's the greatest athlete of all time. But
I just think if you can't pick your subjects at school, you should not be on the field. You're a year 8, year 9. What are you doing? Go and learn about Pythagoras.
she's
Or, I don't
learning.
know.
She's learning McNamara's movements, mate. Like this, it would look. I mean, albeit age being a question in how Sydney were lining up, she did have a good game and a great performance, and I think that they did a great job. Sydney as a whole, they probably should have won this game. I don't
Was
think
it 80% possession that you
Yeah,
guys
I
had?
mean, we had 80%
Mad.
possession, but they should have won. They shouldn't have, I mean, we were lucky to get back in, and if it wasn't for McNamara's no-look ball over the top, we'd be looking at a 2-1 loss, and this 14-year-old would get even more PR than she'd already got, which was
Are
a
you
pretty
are
immense
you
game.
are you missing Rianne Polisena, do you think?
Yes, I love Polly, and watching her score in a victory top was absolutely carnage,
this is
painful, depression in Australian blood. But you know what? It didn't hurt as much as I thought it was going to be, because I watched this game, Victory versus Raw. I was kind of expecting you to schmize them about 2-3-0. I know Raw aren't bad, but ultimately the exact way I wanted this game to start was perfect, with Janssen opening the scoring. And then I think Allegra's chat messages and chats to me were a perfect encapsulation of what this game looked like. As the 34 to 41 minutes, her life went from agony to complete ecstasy as she was given moments of Policina brilliance, which is exactly why they signed her. And then Kennedy White scoring as well. Leggy's in ecstasy. We're winning the league. We're winning the double. It's all great. And then the second half happened. And I mean, I'm going to let you take it from here. What did you think happened?
This is what I mean about the Melbourne derby. So you're on the City side, the corrupt, evil side, and I'm on the true proletariat Melbourne Victory side,
Sure.
right? And
There's
Victory
no
to me,
rich Victory fans.
no,
Not one.
no. And Victory to me, it's funny because look, we got Polisena to fill in the Chidiac spaced hole that midfield was going to put up. And Ben asked me a very poignant question. Leggy, do you like any of the players on the field right now for your team? And personally, from basically from the 75th minute onwards, I can assuredly say no. Because you let a geriatric yell up. She comes on, I text Ben, this is it. this is done.
This is true. This is true. We did know something was coming when big Tamika Yallop comes on. The veteran, the experience, the general. It's almost Saving Private Ryan in a way. Saving Private Yallop as she comes on the field and not only scores the most ridiculous winner I've ever seen, because it was the most A-League women's goal I've ever seen, because it was perfection. The strike was questionable. The block was even more questionable. But then the ball to Yallop was beautiful. And that's what I love about the dub, is it's moments of just blunders mixed with moments of like, holy crap, where did that come from? Sign her to the WSL. Did you see that whip? Are you serious? And then Yallop leaps like a salmon, a Brisbane local salmon, and pops the ball in. 3-2 winner. Game is actually suspended due to lightning.
Now this is where I go crazy. Okay, so you're watching the stream, right? You tell me if you can see lightning in the background 15 minutes before the end of the game. You call the game. I can see it. I don't care. They say, oh, I have the Bureau of Meteorology on my watch.
Bomb said no. VAR less than bomb.
I can see that it's less than 10 kilometers away. I can see it on my screen that it is dangerous. Get them off the pitch. If from the lightning strike starting, you get them off the pitch, the Yallop goal wouldn't have gone in. We could have started.
I thought the lightning strike was Yallop's header. I thought that's why they abandoned the game.
I'm just going to say one thing. Sian Fryer, you are too good for this league. I'm going to say it as I'm a Tilly's hater. I am. I will die on my sword. Sian Fryer, you're too good for this league. I understand you're from loan from Wolfsburg. Do not make this a permanent deal. Stay in Europe. You're a very, very good player.
What, at VFL where she gets no minutes?
I don't care where she goes. Just leave here, basically. Just go.
Fair. Maybe she can replace Gaupset.
Maybe. You know, at this point, she would have gone from Brisbane to VFL, back to Brisbane. And Kyle Morrison would not have gotten a Tilly's cap because apparently FIFA are holding it off. I personally believe it's a conspiracy. Guys, I know what you're doing. She's not getting in that team. She's
definitely not. But the real question is, will Sian Fryer's next game be for VFL or Brisbane?
Will Kyle Morrison be able to get in the team before?
Yeah, there's so much going on, but I mean, that's what makes the dub, honestly. And I mean, there were some other good games around the grounds, but other than, Central Coast being on top, there's not really much to say. That first game, the Perth game, was quite interesting. They chefed up.
Perth have now got the top goal scorer in their team, Holla.
And
Gabby. Yank International, but the internationals are doing, the Yankee internationals are doing well.
Yeah, she's just one of those players who will just deliver you that classic dub goal. Like she's that very traditional 9, but also can play with her back to goal, which I like. Definitely hungry, feisty, yank, miserly, like aggression, which is what you want to see in your 9. I think she's really like your coach's 9, like just kill it. Like she'll run in a brick wall for you. So that's pretty impressive. But as we speak about the Yank, we are going to move to the League of the Yanks as we go into Leggy's NWSL watch.
This one's not really an NWSL watch as much as just a recap. It's the end of the season. We've done it. We've gone through about 7,000 games to get here,
and it's 8,000 draws,
and it's the last game. And I came into this going, I pretty much know how the top 8's going to work out. I don't think that there will be any upsets. And it pretty much panned out how I expected. There was some late drama in some games. But look, I want to say KC Current, easily one of the best teams in the modern iteration of the NWSL. From defense to offense, they are so stable. They got a late winner in this one. But there is no way where I'm seeing an NWSL at the end of the knockout stages where they're not lifting the shield.
They look so comfortable, and their avenues to score goals, honestly, whether it's from the back line, the way they pass the ball from the back line to, like, they would actually give some of the European teams a go. When I know there's been all that discourse online, the WSL versus the NWSL and Europe as a whole, but Current would give most of these teams a game, especially the way they pass the ball and they're so rigid at the back. I'm surprised Wave even got a goal, to be honest. I mean, it was a good finish, good build up, and they deserved a goal. But Dabinia, I mean, when she's needed, that it's the most Dabinia moment of all time. When they need her, she comes in, dead ball, smack, and just like perfection. That's what you want to see.
And I mean, two losses this year and on 65 points again. I mean, they were in this predicament, a similar one last year. I mean, Orlando were the big favorites last year and they got it over the line. But I just think now KC have the finals experience to kind of go all the way.
Yeah, I mean, what was their defensive record this year? It was ridiculous.
It was
Wasn't it?
ridiculous. I think they conceded less than what, like 5, 6 goals in the whole.
Well, 13 goals, fewest conceded of all time. I think that's insane. Which I mean, Andonovski. I mean, you become the ultimately the Woso Mourinho at this point.
This is insane. This is a coach that was basically like kicked out of the US Women's National Team for their worst ever performance in a World Cup, to taking over and building this absolute juggernaut of an NWSL team.
You don't know what you've got till it's gone, and now they've got Emma Hayes.
But Gotham, North Carolina. Gotham, oh
what
my
a
God.
game. What a game,
I
mean,
can't,
L, very sad, but what a game.
I mean, it was a fantastic game. I mean, to me, I can't stop thinking about Manaka. It is such a loss that she's not in the postseason games, because she's a player that I love watching her. I think she's a phenomenon. But basically, NC Courage, they got it over the line. It was a late flurry of Gotham goals to kind of make it less so a 3-0 and more a 3-2. But, you know, Rose Lavelle, she's going to do the job. It kind of depends when you want her to do the job. I mean, she's either a ghost for 80 minutes of the game and then comes on and forces she scores the penalty.
But was it too little too late?
Way too little too late. And Gotham, I think, will really struggle in the postseason. I think that they will probably, I don't know if they'll make it past. So to me, this is a team that, once again, a lot of the doubters, even there have been ex-players who played in that famous from 8th to champions.
Yeah, this is it. They're in the same predicament here now.
And they've said that they can't do it like they did it 2 seasons ago, and that to me is quite damning. So
yeah, well, they're going to have to now. When you're coming up against Current, no question about it. Like,
it would be the biggest. I think it'll be the biggest knockoff if they can do it.
Fair enough. I'm so here. I'm so here for an Orlando Gotham semi. So no issues there, to be honest. But
Gotham drew in this like span of 3-minute goals against Orlando. So Carson Pickett, which to me, if we were to make a super sub, like the best super sub of the NWSL, it is Carson Pickett. She comes on and she has impact immediately. But Marta's starting now, which is fantastic.
I mean, it's weird, though. It's weird.
It is. Like, no, I think they're just building up her minutes for a postseason super sub appearances, which will.
I can't wait. It's the eyes. It's the Marta eyes. I can't get enough of at the moment. She's playing off pure aura, and I mean, they've got the number 4 seed. They're 4v5. That game will be. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. That rain Orlando game will be crazy. I think that the biggest upset of this week has to go to Mormon FC beating Washington. Now, to me, this is a lot of people took of this as like, is this something to kind of move into the offseason to be doubtful of Washington? No, I don't think so. I think they do this a lot. Like in the last couple of weeks, they do drop off, but I think it's mostly to reserve their energy for the playoffs. They know how to do it. They beat KC currently. Oh, sorry. They had a fantastic run in the postseason last year. They got to the final. They obviously lost to an Orlando team that was bound to win it from the start. So I think that they might go far. I just think that the Trinity Rodman loss is massive for them. It is a huge, like it's not just what she offers on the field, but off the field. The feeling in the stadium without her in it, or just her on the side sitting with Mr. Shelton. Ultimately, it's just not the same. It's not the same feeling when they're on the ground. It's not the same feeling when you're thinking about how they're going to score goals. Their outlets, even if she's just bagging like picking the scraps as a feed or as a poacher, it's more than that. It's how she sets up goals. And I think they're going into this game, the Audi field. The Audi
racing
field's got to be,
Louisville.
they've got to be rocking. They've got to be rocking the Audi field at the moment. The crowd's got to be doing its job because Louisville will bring it, and they're
Well, they'll
coming in
bring
with
it.
some.
Yeah.
They're coming in with some good form. No,
No, yes, and also the fact that basically this is their first time in the playoffs. So
that's crazy.
I think you have two heads here. You're like, okay, one, they're the underdogs, like quite easily the
No
underdogs.
experience in the
No
finals.
experience though. So you're questioning, can they do it against like a pretty confident, like trained Washington Spirit side? I would love to see it because I want Kang nowhere near any silverware. So I would love Purple Patch FC Racing Louisville to get
Purple
their
Badge
flowers.
FC as
Yep.
well.
To get their flowers. And I also think I think it'd be really fun to have a team from a part of the country that isn't known for their like incredible football. It's not, Chicago, it's not Carolina, it's not the
No,
East Coast either.
100%.
So
There,
yeah.
this is a part of football that's going to raise the more games that they win, the more prominence they get. You look at a relatively powerful front line, like on the wings. Emma Sears, this is the moment. You've had such a great international break. You want this to be your moment in the finals. Take control. Show the US women's national team, show Emma Hayes that this is what you're made of, right? You're the top goal scorer in the team, and you've got a big job ahead of you taking on Kang's number 2, and just show what you've got, because no one's questioning whether you're available for the US women's national team. You're pretty much cemented in that side. Whether you're a starter or not is a good question. And if you got to the final, I think there'd be no question about that. But again, you've got a lot of things in the way, including the other side. This is the game we're actually looking forward to. This is Maka versus Jonas. This is everything we want in a football match. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I mean, Portland in and of themselves, they're the funniest team in the whole of the NWSL because, like, historically, that you know what they are? They are kind of like the NWSL Manchester United men, right? Like they have the history. They do. They have this fantastic history of creating talent. They've had Rose Lavelle. They've had Lindsay Horan. They've had like this fantastic crop of players. Christine Sinclair. I mean, like, are you kidding? And now
Yeah.
they have incredible talent like Haitema, like Jessie Fleming. But
Coffee, Moultrie's coming through.
Moultrie is incredible.
Everything Moultrie
She
is
just signed
like
a job.
has been like her PR from like the age of 13, like all the way up to now. She is literally on postman delivery. Like she's the one, like if the US women's national team win anything and she's a part of it, her documentary will be insane.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that people have said about her, she's becoming everything everyone thought she'd be about her. But in this final, I think Fleming, Coffey, Moultrie, that midfield has got to run the show against San Diego. They're the big three.
And I think, they're doing it for a reason, which is Christine Sinclair. They want to get her that NWSL title. And I think
My goat, my total
Yeah, exactly.
goat. Like not my Canadian goat, my like goat, all-time international goat.
yeah, and talking about goats, it was Angel City's Kristen Press's last game in the NWSL. She was weeping.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was scrolling through my timeline and it was just her taking her socks off very slowly and doing her lap and doing her walk, which she does after every game, just crying. And honestly, I mean, I was crying too. This is very sad. But I'm so chuffed to have watched her last game. I think that's really important. They didn't get the win. They lost to Chicago, which is this team is so incredible. They're so Angel City. I say it every week, but you lose to Chicago. Like, come on, you couldn't even do it for press. But yeah, I mean,
They did it. They lost for Elizabeth Eddy.
Jesus Christ.
That's what it was.
No, but I really sucks. It really sucks for her, but I'm hoping, well, she said she was going to rock up to every Angel City game. She said this on the podcast, every Angel City game dressed up as Glenda from Wicked. So I'm really hoping that she like just gives a bit of life to this institution that looks like it's dying.
What a recap show. Lovely. Like I can't wait till she rocks up post match to the recap show in her Glenda costume and just, I mean, look, she's to love the game. She's your player's favorite player. I think there's no question. We've talked about this before. Like her contribution to the women's game is immeasurable. And I think if Angel City win anything in the future, and that's a distant future, but again, anything in the future, we know who's lifting that cup. We know who they're inviting out. We know who's going to be celebrating on the side and who's going to be crying if they win. Like this is her, it's her home, right? We're talking about her home. And I think, look, it's hard to see a player like that go. But again, every player has their legends. She's just one that's a legend above legends. A legend that legends love. And that's what's amazing to see. But that's all we have for Leggy's NWSL Watch as we move into the Benchwarmers Awards. I am going to do my Never Bench Again. And my Never Bench Again is going to piss you off because it's Taylor Hines, because she was brought in, the youngster, will you choose the Arsenal? Yeah, of course you will. You know why? Because she can play across the back four, and your right back is, you know what, in career best form. Emily Fox is still doing the business. You still have Reed and Catley, who are doing really well this season, albeit needs some rest and change. But then you have McCabe, who has a 15-minute hat trick, who's saving her PR this year, and she needs rotation. I get that Katie McCabe is one of the most important players to the Arsenal structure, but this is the time Taylor needs to play. She can play left back, she can play right back, rotate, utilize her. She should be a first sub off the bench, personally, or she should be starting. Like, she's good enough. She's definitely capable. There's a reason why she was the captain in a solid Liverpool side that is no longer that solid Liverpool side because she's not there. So the impact and the legacy she can provide is pretty marked.
To me, I mean, McCabe has got on rotation. We have seen Hines come in for this game, but also she came in for the Champions League games, both of them. I think personally, though, McCabe right now is the real problem. I don't think it's a Hines come in and that automatically fixes
it doesn't.
The
No,
problem with
100%. But when I say never bench again, I mean she shouldn't be sitting on the bench for 90 minutes.
But I can't see that much rotation in the fullbacks. It's a very rare thing. It's something that we have only really started doing recently in coming on in later in games. Foxy is our most played player, right? So you're taking her out of the equation for the right back. Left back for me, it's the leadership. It's the strength on that left-hand side, which comes from the connection that she has with Ford. But also it's the fact that she's on the pitch and prior to this season was the character. You looked to Katie McCabe because, we have a captain in Kim Little who only recently started scrapping, but it was Katie McCabe who, if there's a fight, she's the one instigating it. She's the one digging her fists in. Right now, personally for me, she's hit that climax, which is the Champions League. And the games just aren't there enough for her to instigate some sort of fire inside of her or ignite some sort of fire inside of her.
I want to ignite a fire in her. You know how I'm going to do that? I'm going to sub her off. I'm going to tell her you've got to play better or you're not going to start. And I want you to be fresh and fit for the big games. And if we're playing Chelsea at home, fine, you'll start. That's it. But if we're not playing Chelsea or City or United, you're not starting unless you can prove to me that you can string multiple games together, which you can't at the moment. And that's why I have never bench again. That's why I have her as your first outlet for rotation as the fullbacks. And I don't think it should be Wub and Moy in the center. I think it should be her. And I think if it's the flanks, it's her as well. She can do everything.
Fair enough.
Yeah. What about your never bench again?
Mine is also a little bit contentious if you're a diehard Brennan fan, basically.
I do like Werder Bremen.
So, I think Papai deserves her time in the sun, and I think she shouldn't be benched. She's had 2 immense games off the bench. And yes, Larissa Mateus, Desic, they're doing the job as well. But why can't we just play all 3 at the same time? I mean, they facilitate each other. You could play Mateus a bit deeper and play 2 up front.
I don't know. Mulhouse is one of those players where you just don't you don't mess with the process. I think Papai in spurts is an amazing impact player. I've seen her start earlier in this season and she does fade off in that 50 to 60 mark, and I think that's why. But I think in future you will be proven 100% correct. I think she's a sporadic first team player and will come in, especially if there's an injury. She can definitely come through. But Larissa Mulhouse, I mean, 7 goals this season, 5 penalty goals. She's doing it. She's doing her job. Like, she's creating her own chances. She's got 2 assists as well. Definitely having a great season. And Papai is one of the best subs this season. I mean, Luani is no longer the sub, and I think that's, also probably the best never bench again I've ever done when I said Luani needs to come off, and now she's chefing it up for Athletic. But my super sub this week is Volodya Smiller, the 21-year-old another Swiss god. Like, I don't know what is in the water I think it must be Toblerone. I don't know what's going on.
And now they have a La Masia coach who's taken over Pia Sundhagen.
Yeah, it's honestly, they are chefing up something dangerous in that country. And with Pia disappearing, very sad. I can't imagine that girl with a sad face because, like, she's just perennially the most emotively happy person I've seen in football, which is a lovely thing I can say about someone because, for every Pia Sundhage smile, there's an Emma Hayes frown. But Smilla Volodya, this girl, the tech, the strike, she scored in both games this week. She probably had the best week of her life. And I hope she's enjoying it because, my God, she deserves all the plaudits. And to make your mark in VFL, this is the thing, right? If Sian Fryer had that moment and then she could do that, like, that's why you're here. Smilla Volodya, 21 years old, she's gone, guys, this is why I'm here. I've just won you 3 points in this game, and then I've just done my job when I've started as well in the midweeker. And it's a super sub. It's slyly, you can't really never bench again. Have you seen VFL's lineup? It's too good for her, but she's clearly learning. She's clearly loving, and she's definitely having fun. And she looks like she's a great mate of Janu as well. And Janu's starting every week, and Janu after the game gave her plaudits to her. So yeah, congrats, Miller, legend.
My super sub lends itself actually to the come on the pod because this super sub was assisted, I believe. Yeah, and this may be a conspiracy, but it's only a conspiracy because someone said
2-leggy conspiracies in one pod, guys. This is what I experience off the pod all the time. By the way,
yes, I'm conspirified. No, but I saying Emarai Adams from Seattle, right? I think she was a super sub of the week. Like, she comes on, she scores the equalizer in 2 minutes, right? Like, crazy, and she secures therefore a home final for her team. So to me, Brilliant. That's insane, right? But was this sub instigated by Laura Harvey or by AI?
Oh no! Oh yes, I did see this.
Yes, because my come on the pod is Laura Harvey, because I want an explanation as to who sits down in the off season, goes, you know who will answer all my tactical questions? Yes, ChatGPT.
Oh.
Like, I'm sorry. To me, it's damning on the institution, who's obviously, use the humans that you hire. Surely
I don't understand. Like, there's clearly a boardroom of tacticians, set piece coaches, defense. There's line coaches as well. Like, I don't know.
I've read the article. So before anyone says I've taken this quote out of context, I've read the article. I know that she hasn't used ChatGPT with it.
It was a sly bit of advice, but
exactly.
but it's not. It doesn't matter. The fact that you've gone there as the as the form, like that, it's kind of the what not to do. Like the fact is that GPT as a metric. It's not about GPT. It's about Laura Harvey. This is the point. Anyone can type on Chat GPT. That's the point. Is that there's no question about it. It's the fact that she was so vocal about it. She was so honest about it and transparent about the fact that you have a team of people who are full-time workers, work their socks off, have years of football experience, but that's the thing you're comfortable coming out and vocalizing to Earth. I don't know.
I think
have no idea.
The things that AI is getting is already online, is already publicly available. You can use that and actually put it to the brains and the humans who are actually specialists at this. You don't need AI to tell you to go into a back five, Laura Harvey. You've been coaching for eons. I know because I was a child watching watching you on your cooler in the NWSL, in the WSL. I've seen you around. I just think this is one short step to AI psychosis that we're getting in the NWSL. I just know it's going to happen. Next thing you know, a player's going to be having a relationship with ChatGPT. And
I didn't know what was coming out of your mouth just then. I didn't expect that at all. But
AI psychosis
also just like using AI in the women's game just gives rise for disgusting misogynists to be like, oh, well, this is what the game looks like.
We know technology exists, but like,
imagine Bielsa or Mourinho had AI in their prime. Like, my God, I think they would have conceded less goals and they would have scored less goals. It would have been more 0-0s in the prime football days when teams used to win 1-0 all the time. Those primes are amazing. But come on the pod. I could have done Harvey for her GPT gate. I could easily have put Mary Earps down because her press run has just been absolutely generational in the process of selling her book All In. But it has to be the FA. I'm sorry. It has to be the FA. The games, right? I'm watching my game and then I have Chelsea on another screen because it's a 12 p.m. kickoff in England. And then the next day, they put all 4 WSL games on at the same time. What are you doing? Do you want us to not watch games? I don't understand why you would set up a schedule in which 4 teams play. It's not the last game of the round. It's not the last game of the season. This is like... this is probably next week, right? We have City versus United in a derby and we have Chelsea versus Arsenal. Imagine you put both of those games on at the same time. I wouldn't have been surprised if the FA did that, but luckily there are some games next week that are at different times. We have a 1:30 kickoff. Congratulations. It's an Everton game. Oh my God. But what is that? I don't know what that was. The 6 games at 12 p.m. across 2 days is a diabolical broadcasting decision, and that's worse than Mary Earps. You're worse than Mary Earps. I thought Mary Earps deserved to come on the pod because also I think she'd want to come on the pod because you know what? She hasn't really turned down any press at the moment. And I feel like, I mean, we can definitely, she can bench warm and I mean, maybe she can't actually. Didn't like bench warming as an idea, as a prospect, but I think that kind of sums up the Benchwarmers Awards as we move into the last segment of our podcast, which is What Would Kang Do number 10. And anyone who's been around since the first podcast, I've said that every five What Would Kang Do's, it would be a song. And we are going to, I mean, I don't know how this is going to work audio-wise, but we're going to give it a go. I'm going to get my guitar out and we're going to see how we go as I make a cover that's all about Michelle that you want to hear. And it's going to be weird. It's going to be wonderful. Hopefully the microphone works. I don't know if it will, but if it doesn't, we'll try as hard as we can. But actually, you know what? Screw this. I'm gonna get the audio going, and then I'm just gonna sing it, and that will be the best way to do it because I don't think the audio's worked when we tried to do it. So I'm just gonna see how I go as we talk about that funny feeling that is Michelle Kang in women's football. I can't really play the guitar well, but Michelle is the most annoying person in this sport, and I apologize for that. Starting out as an EY partner, loving comms and tech. Health and science at Northrop Grumman in 2000s to earn respect. Rex and pharmaceuticals and their merch with Occupier. Cognos, anti-lying, discount practices and desire. Kang is doing it again, that funny feeling. That funny feeling. Kang's doing it again, that funny feeling. That funny feeling. Joining Eagle Football Holdings, working in women's sport. A great way to boost your social standing with millions to support. Calling a company Kaniska is just genius showmanship. Distract fan bases with history for your multi-club ownership. Lionesses might stay up and Leon might win the lot. And all it took was one investor using all she's got. Undisclosed player prices, manager movements without delay. Convince the fans of sport that your contribution is okay. Kang is doing it again, that funny feeling. That funny feeling. Kang is doing it again, that funny feeling. That funny feeling. If you're a Spirit fan, a lion or a lioness, I'm sure you love Michelle in football, her money and what she invests. But this doesn't mean you cannot comprehend the greater lesson shown. You can love your team and still criticize on how it's owned. Believing in football equity is an excellent place to start. Remember stars that grow up playing the sport that's in their heart. I know I can't stop Kang's cemented legacy into law. But I'm never gonna stop supporting Woso only at its core. One more time. Kang is doing it again, that funny feeling. That funny feeling. Kang is doing it again, that funny feeling. That funny feeling. Hey, what can I say? Kang is controlling you. Don't care what she's gonna do, you wait. Hey, what can I say? Kang is controlling you. Don't care what she's gonna do, you wait. Me Michelle, Kang taking over the space. What can I say? It was overdue. Sport washing controlling you, you wait. It's Leon, Washington, and Elsie. Hey, what can I say? Kang is controlling you. Don't care what she's gonna do, you wait. Me Michelle, Kang taking over the space. What can I say? It was overdue. Kang's Woso's controlling you, you wait. Ba-da-da, ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da. That's all I've got. Oh,
I tried singing this last night.
That was terrifying. Oh, I've heard Leggy singing this last night. It actually made me not want to sing it. But yeah, that is all we've got for What Would Kang Do number 10. I promise you not all of the songs I make will be Bo Burnham. But I mean, we did what? Kango number 5 last time, and that was Kang's Funny Feeling. But that is all we have this week as we wrap up on 2.5 hours, which is short for us, to be honest.
I know, that's pretty good. We did well.
Yes, this podcast is on Spotify and YouTube. We also do our short form content on Instagram and TikTok. And by the way, one of our TikToks just hit the 10K, by the way. Crazy. That's right. We are going to, trust me, we will roast Cooney Cross more in the future if that's what it takes to drop 10K views. But ultimately, follow us on all our socials, rate us 5 stars, like our posts. We love any support. We love any hatred. That's what Woso is about. It's about debates and thoughts and feelings and every concern you have, because I mean, that's what women's football is. It's a space for us to express our best self. And ultimately, we love the game, and we're not going anywhere, because do we post every week? Every week. Yeah. Thanks, guys, and have a fantastic week. That's Benchwarmers, a Woso podcast.